because I do support the KO. I think that if it gives you this kind of results, you need to keep using it. But maybe, adding the Sky instead of the Sova is not my favorite thing to do if you want to go with that many initiators. You do have a lot of support, as in coming onto the sites, but maybe I think that just by what was shown on Ascent and the value that Sova utility has on a map, not that convinced, within also having the Cypher on the team, on the composition, that is the strongest that you can get.
I mean, we just saw Na'Vi kind of come out the doors, shutting everything London United were doing down. Do you feel like if they have that kind of start again, then this is a 2-0 to Na'Vi?
I think that London, just because I said that little comeback that we were having on the attack, maybe they were a little bit cold jumping onto today. I think that we're still going to have a third map. I was thinking that 2-0 to London, but after that, I'm having my doubts now.
I think the move over from the Chamber to the Killjoy is one I'm hoping for London. Like, you don't really see Chamber that much on Haven overall. A couple of teams messed with it, like Sender with Vitality. I think Killjoy keeps it safe. It's more about being the site that's very hard to entry, the site that I think Na'Vi on their attack is going to try and prod, get rid of that some utility, either exec there or go somewhere else. I think it's a case of like FQ needs to like calm down. There was a lot of first deaths from him because he's trying to peek out, hold an angle with the operator, and there were like turrets that were popping up in front of him, right?
That's the thing. FQ and another KO, those early angles, especially, on A long or C long, those extremities of the map on Haven, they're so pivotal for a team to actually be working on the defense is what scares me.
I will say that the breach on Ascent, some people don't really like it. They don't really think it works. They feel like it's a little bit out of meta. But the breach here, Kakuka, what do you make of this?
I think it's different. I think the retake potential is huge, especially if you have a Killjoy as well. The flashes, the stun. I think that the aftershock to prevent plants, also when you have a Sova, there's so many things that you can do with a breach. I think like it's a much bigger scenery for him.
The problem with retakes, though, is because they've been so good for London United anyway, what do Na'Vi do in response? They don't let you do it.
To your point.
They plant the spike, and instead of waiting for the retake, which they know from London is going to be good because of their coordination, their utility, those kind of things, they just keep pushing them. They go into rafters. They're like, hey, guys, and London like, why are you here? Why are you so aggressive in that position, right? And that's my problem with London United as well, is because their utility and play is so good, but Na'Vi are just slapping them in the face each time. It just breaks their sort of like, whoa, what's going on kind of thing, that I'm a little bit worried that the breach is going to be a bit of a tell, but Navi's going to be very punchy is what I mean.
Well, let's head into Agent to select. Now, these are the agents they played the last time they were on this map. Let's see if there are going to be any changes. No, it doesn't look like any changes to me. Nope. So, of course, we have the KO Sky that you guys mentioned. Oh, no Chamber. I tell a lie.
I know that not in this map there wasn't one.
Oh,
it was just Dream Master was on Chamber on Ascent, right?
Ignore me. So no changes at all from the last time. Yeah, what do you guys make of this?
I mean, I like both compositions. I think I do favor the KO because of what JD has been showing us that he can do and the way that he's found to counter London United. I think I still stand more with London United one, though.
I think this whole event, like all of the series that we've seen with KO, it's always been the KO has been the better choice. It's had so much impact in a lot of these games. I think this would be the nail in the coffin for a lot of teams playing Breach on this map. Saying that, though, Destrian has a lot of more puggy, individual, can fight, play Breach as a duelist kind of way of playing that I think is very hard to anti-strat if you're Na'Vi, but JD's going to be hunting for that garage control consistently, right?
Yeah, completely. And also, I think that it's a different taste that with the set, because with a map so wide as Haven, if London learned that the moment that the 0 point touches the ground, they need to put some pressure on the other side of the map. And I think if they get that, and also the fact that the lineups for KO on this map are kind of predictable, especially the first one. If they can play around that and counter-strike them from the beginning, it should be a map for them.
Well, you guys are still backing London United. I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do on this map they haven't lost on, but I'm more excited about how Pansy and Hypok want to react to the Hypok JD haircut.
Wow, the haircut was something beautiful. Do you know what, Hypok, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling like a new me, unfortunately. I think that says everything I need to know. It's either I get on the growth or I find myself a good wig, but I'll have to get in touch with JD.
Something.
I have to know JD's routine, obviously.
Of course, you can't try and become a cheap replica of it. You want to truly embrace that, but I like that. I like that dedication. So we've seen, let's say this way, Na'Vi's strong map choice coming in that prior map, right? We saw a very dominant performance on one half and they closed out in the second. Be it a little slowly, however you want to look at it. doesn't really bother me, but they closed out their map in quite convincing fashion, I think is fair. We did see a little bit of those glimmers of what impresses us with London United, but we have to see a great deal more of it now on their map choice, right?
Well, yeah, I need to see them follow up on that. Like I said, it's all good kind of seeing the appetizers to that, but we didn't necessarily, I hate to say it, come back. It's that term we use at the start of Ascent, right? The proof is in the pudding.
Sure.
And this is ultimately where I want to see London United prove that they can replicate the kind of taster that we've seen again. I don't want to discredit any of the teams or any of the performances because you think back to the Red Bull event where we had the wins over both Supermassive Blazer and Gambit, but it's just like the dribs and drabs here and there. This for me is where I want to see them actually solidify what we've already seen from them. And actually, just to come back to a point Kakuga made, the interesting composition change here, the Killjoy, actually Boo becomes a even more key component here on Haven in terms of denying JD's ability to suppress. Obviously, Dreamers is going to be tethered to his utility. There's no ability to really play distance and negate really the 0 point or the null command. So in terms of slowing down some of these fast hits, particularly on Navi's attacking side, it's going to be really difficult for London United. Cloud actually open things up here. After a little bit of a lull, actually Fecky with a mad dash onto site, but the trades come through, back and forth, a 2 for 2. No worries. We'll see. Actually going to swing out. Yeah, Dinks will find that as well. Boo down to 27 HP. We'll have to try and retreat here. Still has the spike, so an opportunity to maybe try and get a cheeky plant through. Extra orb or a bit of a buffer in terms of the finances here. Again, we'll deal with the trap wire, and that will be the signal for the rotate to come through. Spy cam dealt with pretty quickly as well, so no free information on the side in RV, but expecting the HP disadvantage and the numbers advantage
30 seconds left.
Be the deciding factor here. Might even get the plant. Yeah, they're desperate to try and deny it, but comes through regardless. Boo now inside the smoke, swings out. SSK finds it. Much else to write home about there. And what's important here is Na'Vi's use of that downtime. Again, after the 0 point comes through, a little bit of a low, I could say. Well, there's no actual attempt to take map control elsewhere. A little bit weird. But Na'Vi made great use of that downtime in terms of just, I guess, confirming the information they gathered off the back of that initial use of utility. Again, a little bit of a desperation dash onto Cypher Fecky to try and find an opening. You can't really fault him. But that's what I'm looking for here, but particularly on the defensive side, is JD's utility once again being used. I think the first map was a great example of really how this agent is going to fit him in this sort of role, because he's very self-sufficient, but also his ability to react so quickly is what's going to be a real problem for London United.
This is their map choice. Why this was their home turf to go to. God, someone just said XQC haircut, and it's really thrown me through a loop. Well,
what's interesting actually is that for me, it's Bren at one point had that haircut.
Yeah.
So I see more Bren than anything. XQC is a good second shout for sure.
I am probably an XQC frog, if we're going to be honest. Yeah. I know you're more the Pokemon type. I get you.
Of course.
Of course. The ruthless businesswoman herself. But we see a little piece up towards A-Long. And Na'Vi actually do manage to turn the flash. I was quite surprised that Deno came out okay in that one. I felt like
United caught the worst of that flash.
Yeah, it did seem as though I kind of expected that to be a little bit better, and Dreamers now more than noted. Dealt with handedly, and again, 4 alive. I don't mind a little burst up long. I think that was actually not necessarily a bad idea, like a decent little try, but yeah, the flash didn't really find what it was looking for.
We'll ride a Sheriff into this round. London United expecting a much better purchase coming in here. Minimal investment. I think on the previous it might have been a Sheriff here and there, but full shields across the board. Don't see any gaps in utility actually other than Fecky. He's going to opt for the full shield instead of the updraft and the cloud burst.
Oh, the challenging. I wonder how much they actually challenge on this. I'm looking for the swing through sewer. Oh, and the flash fully ate that. Again, these flashes, double-edged sword at times, it feels like. Actually, Cloud going to find Fecky, so Not an ideal beginning for London United. I really thought they'd be off to a bit of a bang there after that flash kind of got eaten on the other side, but...
I actually think Cloud caught JD's flash there.
It was JD's?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, yeah, no, that's why I was kind of surprised that they still got the pick on Feku.
Yeah, I mean, Cloud's able to back out there, and Na'Vi still somehow come out of that with the first blood. A really weird exchange there.
And confirmation of attendance, so information free-flowing now through Na'Vi's mindsets. I've got to say, Na'Vi looking really well positioned for this one. JD does go down, so at least a good bit of utility work to crack through that front line that was holding onto that B site. So at least they'll be in a post plant now.
Spike planted.
He will opt to play close contact here. Dink's gonna actually nearly catches. He does catch Boo in astral form. That's a major slip up.
And a swift follow-up as well. Dink's going to find Destrian now, putting it deeper into that post plant. Tommy the turret going to be called upon as well in this one. A 1-for-1 trade out may not be enough. We'll have to see how much Dreamers can actually achieve in this 1v2. Tommy by his side still does well to find a no, and now the 1v1 begins. Dinks did perfectly to begin, but still it's clutched out by Dreamers. And London United finally get that round on the board. They don't let that scoreline spiral, even though that was a bonus.
I was going to say, it's costly. The fact that 4 fall. Yeah, I mean, they come out of it, it'll be 4 rifles and a Spectre, but RV have absolutely nailed the main objective of that, even though they concede. They've damaged the economy, keep it honest, don't allow any early momentum, so pretty much a level playing field coming in, but Na'Vi actually, you could argue, with a massive ultimate advantage. You look what's on the brink here. Seekers, Cosmic Divide, JD, close to that null command as well.
Okay. Dreamer's chip damage to begin with as well. Down a little lower than he'd ideally want, and SSK just handing out free haircuts. You might need to give him a call. He could sort you out, mate. Down to a 4v4, but look at the HP left on London United. Boo is barely breathing, 1 HP.
And I'm feeling like this is a recurring trend. There's been a couple of times on Ascent where I noticed it's the early exchange. Yes, it comes for a 1-for-1. Oh, JD's in a dirty spot there to find a headshot.
Ratty.
Unfortunately, it's the player with 1 HP. That's almost overkill anyway, but removes the smokes, removes the controller. Rely on London United to make something from nothing. That's why we see Dreamers try and slow walk out onto B site. Will be punished. Destrian and Feku. 1 flash to work with the fault line back off cooldown as well. But no cloud burst for Feku, so no real ability to dash on, create a little pocket to play from here.
They should be able to get a free site at least.
30 seconds left.
Yeah, Navi's still semi-convinced it's going to be an A here, but again...
I don't mind Deno sitting deeper anyway. Just playing safe to this, I really don't think is necessarily a bad idea. Try and play it back. Keep space towards CT. I think that's probably the right choice, and then play back on the retake. But also 10 seconds. Bloody hell.
It's a good grasp, really, of what Destrian and Feku should try, which is to play this a little more aggressively. Now, unfortunately, is a little too late. Especially with Feku down on 63 HP, it's going to be difficult. Actually, Destrian will find one. Oh, trades it, but...
He's managed to get away.
Yeah.
Hold on, there's a little bit of something to this one. If you can split them up into at least a 1v1, which he's kind of got here, that's perfect. Destrian could not have asked for a better scenario, but now the 1v1, the end goal is achieved. And that was a classic clutch from Destrian. You don't get to see that often, but he played that so well in that 1v2 especially.
Like I said, that's actually a little bit off pace in terms of when London United decided to drift forwards and get a little more aggressive. Because, like I said, in that scenario, ultimately they want to try and improve their chances in a 2v3 scenario. And the 1-for-1 doesn't really favor them. It's Destrian delivering on a 3-piece actually to close that out. Great work from London United. Nothing invested in the previous, so still have same ultimates we were talking about before. We'll see a big advantage here in terms of the equipment for London United and the Blade Storm to boot, so you almost ride out a free purchase on the back of Feku.
Time to get ratty if you're Na'Vi. And on the other side, can't say it enough, it's all about keeping it composed, clean, and no one close enough for SSK to try and punish. But Feku, in the meantime, going to try and get himself into danger. The problem is he's actually going to be overwhelmed. Great deals of numbers here, but that's smoke going to keep him safe. But Cloud going to put him out of his misery. But Great spacing, good trades from London United, not allowing any of the mistakes of map 1 to haunt them here into map 2. Lovely work from Destrian. Clean as you like. Yeah, they'll lose Feku, but that's just fine. Gonna string together a couple of rounds now.
I'm actually crucial that Feku's able to do enough damage, even though didn't find the kill initially with the Blade Storm, but able to close one out with the Frenzy. See here, a little bit of a cushion, obviously a gap in terms of Destry and Feku's overall credit count, but
This goes here.
this is a big round now for potential on the side of London United to string together a couple more. Depending on the ultimate investment, everything available except for the Blade Storm for Na'Vi. An operator here posted up on top of default. An immediate deterrent.
Yeah. I want to see if they still continue through Garage, though. That was the kind of second string to this. Looks like they're still going to progress forward in that regard at the least. But there is 2 players posted towards it. Dinks and No, both eyes trained on this. And Boo's going to post himself up, push a little closer towards that. And you're right, there's players behind this too. I thought it was going to be just those 2 exploring for a second, but they are committing a little to this. And I wonder if there's going to be any information plays. They've seen enough of utility to now be certainly on red alert, as now London United can try and make this hit happen. And as much as utility was there in play, they're going to take the site nonetheless, and this is going to give them at least a little bit of safety to operate under.
Some key ultimates in terms of the retake here. I'm looking towards Cloud and JD, and also the Cosmic Divide if needed. It will be Boo employing his own Matty crossing Cosmic Divides. It's about to get chaotic.
Yeah, just a bit. Have fun, observers. First man in, trying to draw the attention. Where's the trade? There it is. Good enough for Dinks. He'll take that. Now he can invest his ult towards it. You can see the rest of the players now getting pulled towards this either side of the divide. A little bit of a knife play trying to come out, but Na'Vi actually cleaning house. They're going to sit the defuse. Cloud ain't moving. This is going to be a full defuse. Nothing much is stopping it right now. Yeah, Morsey can try all he wants, but the round nonetheless will go Na'Vi's way, and a flying to know is going to make it just seem all that worse for London United, but what a ridiculous amount of investment on that round.
I mean, everything but the kitchen sink. You can see now on both sides what was invested. I mean, they come out with the Blade Storm, which is the only thing not available in the previous, and the lockdown on the side of London United.
Mike, I do need your thoughts on something very briefly.
Oh, please.
It's very serious, obviously. How do you feel about the Stiff Dragon? Do you believe?
Hit them hard.
Mike?
I have lots of thoughts. Lucky, actually, this round is off to a ferocious start here, straight into sewers.
Right?
You should
and it's slowed down. Oh, thank God there's a lockdown. And looking as if United want to try and progress through, will force Na'Vi away from site. Actually, a big chunk of A site still to play here. JD ultimately going to have to commit to being detained. Actually, 2 players.
Lockdowns are looking quite effective today, and site take in full practice. No one on a wrap either. It's at the moment full through CT or eventually dropping in through heaven. So this crossfire could be deadly. So often we get to see this be a problem, and Destrian can just add insult to injury on this one. That's going to change matters, and away we go. They're going to drop on down. At least one of them is. I'm pretty sure I saw someone go for it, and yeah, it was SSK who's going to be the first to fall as well, leaving just 2 alive. And the crossfire, renowned for its brilliance, but JD refusing to relent, does finally get put to bed by Destrian, and they hold with 2 alive, but that got pretty close.
It did. I think as well, the lockdown coming to... I'm actually getting really, really annoyed. Every time I look back at Jay, it's like, oh yeah, he used his ultimate in the previous round. Well, he's one away again. I have to keep my eye on that. I know there's been a couple of rounds where they've been given a lobby control for free and they've been able to retrieve that, but just to note, again, the lockdown... That slight adjustment, I was looking at a big pocket of A site that was still kind of safe. Ultimately, even now, we want to protect the numbers in terms of having a shot at that retake. But nice little just different placement on the lockdown to force Na'Vi away. This is interesting, though, because, again, London United have probed, sent quite a lot of util in and achieved nothing for it. I mean, this time the saving grace is they haven't taken an awful lot of damage, but yeah, really strange. And now I guess anticipating Na'Vi maybe poke back a little bit. re-explore mid at this point. I'm looking. Destrian now has no flashes left. No shock darts, recon off cooldown. Still got the drone. Mosley maybe going to try and make use of the Hunter's Fury later on in the round if it comes online. Okay, it's a couple of tags, but no frag to write home about. This is weird. Yeah, 40-second mark now. When do London United pivot towards? The big gap towards B.
It's got to be towards that B site, surely.
I mean, it's on a silver platter right now. Yeah, it
is. The rotations are going to be coming in. You can already see the lean coming back through from the defending side, but London United leaving this really late in the day, and it always makes me nervous. A quick pickup for SSK, but it is going to be London United keeping control of this one. 2-for-1 trade out will be just fine for now, as the last players are looking a little less deadly. A little bit of light armor, sure, but those frenzies going to be hard to make work. A little bit of a pre-fire on the spam. Unless something goes horrifically wrong from London United, this should be their round.
It definitely should. It's with these B site here. Okay, thank God there's a gravity well there. There's a bit of chance Dinks gets the half there and makes it possible, but all the kills come through in favor of London United, and it's difficult to manage a hit like that onto B site because ultimately the main objective is retaking mid, and when you got frenzies and scrappy little pistols, it's not easy. I mean, London United can just sit pretty deep and play off utility. The kills come through regardless. It's really round 9. I mean, this is pretty crucial in terms of the outcome of this half. I'm looking, London United probably have a buy in hand, maybe 2. They're back on a decent second ultimate cycle as well. Na'Vi have nothing behind this purchase as well, Lauren.
You're right. It is a little bare bones after this one. I'm trying to scrape it together, but I liked a little bit of a pace change, try and take territory over towards that A side.
Here.
We'll see what that really facilitates. Maybe trying to punish a rotation. Going to catch a glimpse, but not be able to get much more from that. So that's kind of lost down that early contact. But re-exploring towards long, you can see that Cloud's really considering trying to put himself in the corner. We've got plenty of flashes on long. This could actually be really hard to handle. JD going to try and divide. And there's the flash to go through. So they at least take back long control. But you saw that London United weren't really playing for it. They were kind of sitting more towards sewers, a little bit deeper. But again, after that early intent, they've just hit the brakes.
Big focus on long here. Actually, the third member of Na'Vi comes up. JD will actually find one. Traded out by Feku, but Cloud now. It's actually crucial that they have 2 members controlling A long here. They can really restrain this A site execute.
Oh, 30 seconds. Cloud's been absolutely done.
Look at that.
The patience paid off so well. You could see the paranoia building in the back of their mind that they had to check on that walk up through sewer, but they line up and Dink's going to punish too. And
no way
for Dinks.
Dream is down to what, 40 HP?
And they've got 10 seconds basically on the board here. I don't know how he's going to try and navigate around this, and you can see it. Dink's playing that really well, going to slip back away. Made no easy work of this, no easy pickup. A tap on the spike, it's not going to be enough. It's done for. And again, that was all off the back of Dinks just finding impact at the right time. That looked like it was going to be a London United round from start to finish.
I mean, great clearance from London United, but that engagement comes so deep on A long that it still takes them 10 to 15 seconds to get to site. Then they have to clear all of site. And this is the problem with some of these late round hits. It's I mean, the second thing to note there is how much it's going to cost Na'Vi. I mean, at that point, I'm almost inclined to say, Dinks, don't bank on it. Wait for the plant to come through. Force that plant out.
Yeah.
I think actually, Dreamers has made the right decision there to further punish the economy, but this is huge from Dinks. Like I said, the engagement comes so early that there's still so many obstacles on site that London United have to be conscious of.
And again, if you look at the amount of utility they had to invest to clear long to try and keep control of sewer, to try and keep those 2 players just pinned in, which they were, and they did overcome in the end, they had very little to then have time to play in towards the site and had just simply very little in general. So a good approach from Na'Vi to not fall foul to that. But again, I do give credit to Dinks there. But it is a little bit on the backside of the fact that obviously there was very little utility for London United to put into play to make that cross a little easier, as they had to put so much into that initial fight.
Yeah.
But you said it again. There was a lot on the line there. There wasn't going to be much left over if Na'Vi didn't convert that round. They were kind of running low on funds, and they're still running pretty low on funds. It wasn't as clean as you'd want if you were looking at the economy side. So it still should be probably a better purchase coming out from London United.
Like I say, because that round is influential because it either leads us, I guess, probability-wise towards a 9-3, but 2 rounds left. RV 1 round away. This is huge if they can convert this. On the back of this purchase as well, SSK is going to go exploring, and a little bit of a switch up here. Was previously double initiator hold on A site. Maybe it doesn't even matter.
He's just walking that, and they do have other players here. JD in the back lines, don't think he's out of it just yet, but Dano just kind of feeds the beast. VecQ just going to walk in and stamp his authority on the side. It's all theirs. The divide on the back line is going to keep them safe as well to ferry that spike further in. So Plant going to come down, and this is good from London United. What a response in kind. Power play right back in off that first pick.
Yeah, how Na'Vi able to navigate their way back onto A site. Operator, difficult to make worse in this scenario. Crossfire going to be crucial. The flash is good. Cloudfire's wanting for a second as well.
And the Seekers, they're both pretty much facing, and yeah, he can't get away from it. It was the firing squad on the other side of the site. Had to just face the music on that, but you could see again danger being shown. Just glimmers of it again. But this is going to put the economy in just tatters for Na'Vi. They've been barely keeping it together, and they should stabilize London United.
Well, they might come out with decent performance on the half. It's so tough here as well. The recon bolt coming through at the perfect time for Molesey, just to make that even more difficult for Cloud to clutch up. Even though ultimately he did the hard work, right? Found the first 2 way out of that smoke, and the problem I see here as well, there's so much spam coming through. There was like 3 players stacked up behind him, but another early engagement that Na'Vi come out on top of. I mean, look at the HP advantage now. Obviously no heal available here, and well, that's going to be problematic for London United throughout this round. Now, no utility watching this push through A lobby. Turret was invested on window, no alarm bot here. Who's got to be on red alert?
Could be Eco Cobra moment. Waiting for it. Yeah, nice work from Boot. Tries to get the punish as well. Good follow towards JD.
Yeah.
Still going to identify as well where Cloud's going to be. I don't know about Dinks, but you probably have a good idea. Oh, maybe not. Where the tragedy struck for a EU team in the past over on that side of things, but it's going to be wrapped up. Almost certain of it, and there it is. A 1-player loss, you'll take that just fine. And London United with a bit of a buffer. Something they genuinely, I feel, needed after that first map. Maybe a confidence booster here, something to really kind of steer the ship back into the direction it was meant to be going.
Looking with a couple of pistols invested. I mean, it should be fine, but I'm questioning whether or not it's going to be light shields on a couple of these members of Na'Vi in this final round. Yeah, we'll be at JD, Dinks, and all on light shields. Opting for that utility. Hey, look at London United. Cosmic Divide, Rolling Thunder, Blade Storm, Hunter's Fury, and the Lockdown will be retrieved here. So everything on the cards here. This is a tough round if you're Na'Vi. JD's a million miles away from this, so unable to put his ult to use ahead of the hit, but Na'Vi adjusts slightly and gives C site up for retake. I guess anticipating this very hit. They're going to prioritize Garage.
Another slow round coming out from London United. I guess they have the ults to depend on if it does become a requirement. Utility is going to force Dinks into a bad position, but he's still going to get away with 1, but Cloud's got his back this time. Sprays in through the smoke and does find success towards Dreamus. And now down to 50 seconds, and a site being at least now toyed with. The spike should be en route.
And that's huge, actually, to find the man advantage here for Na'Vi. And again, JD and... oh, well, not anymore. I'm going to say 2 big ultimates in terms of the retake if London United are able to get this plant through. With JD being removed, makes it a little bit more difficult for them. But keep your eye on the minimap. Who's made their way to the bottom of Long on the backside of this Cosmic Divide.
Okay, so 2 divides go up. just boxed in. They want to play out of this if they can. Cloud.
Molzy's weapon showed through.
Yeah, you can see Cloud knows it. He's trying to clear him for free. The flash is going to go in and no swing on it. There's a little bit of a peek, but you saw the exchange. Both kind of going either way, and Boo going to keep it safe. SSK trying to make the play happen, but Boo and Molzy just about keeping that one in the palm of their hands. And a decent lead now, 4-8. This is strong showing from United. No, it's not as commanding as map 1, but hey, this is it's a much better look.
Well, this is now at the point where I come back to that initial discussion I mentioned at the start of this map, which is Boo needs to be arguably the biggest component here for London United on the defensive side. I'm assuming Na'Vi are going to resort to what we saw a lot of in Ascent, which is kind of this death ball, very, very reactionary sight hits on the back of JD in particular. Really, Dreamers is, I mean, this is kind of a Sentinel's worst nightmare, right? It's like, yeah, we'll leave you kind of solo anchoring, you know, holding down multiple spots, and you just end up being suppressed and removed from most of these rounds, relying on nothing but your weapon. And really removes a lot of the information, that passive information gathering that comes with Killjoy's utility as well. A little bit of reinforcements around Dreamers initially on the pistol round. See some utility towards B, the turret over towards C long. Got 2 teammates with him as well. Feku dipping his toes, a little curious from Sewers. I'm not sure how many members of Na'Vi were noticed on the back of that engagement, though. Actually, Feku's going to drift away from A site. And what, 1 member in heaven?
I'm not sure about the read on this.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Maybe they've done something, you know, maybe be it prep, be it a tell that's ringing some sort of alarm bell. But I don't think it's necessarily the right one as progress towards A is progressing. They're going to be pretty much on the site here. I don't know if Feku's going to actually try to fight this one. Might have a little look through the smoke if he's feeling a little fruity, but it's Molzy to go down as well. They've lost the player in heaven. How?
Spike planted.
I don't really understand how that's come through at this point. Maybe overstaying their welcome, being caught out, maybe just simply misfortune, but now you're down to 4. Play back in, going to be tricky. Any utility to facilitate this. I'm waiting to see what they've got. This is the start of it. Destrian going to try and clear the corner and does. Dinks is now down, but a quick trade out. And again, they're trying to force these players out of place, but no one really there to capitalize. Utility to slow them down, and the pop flash with Cloud. They're waiting to use it. They don't need it. Dano's going to just land a clean shot. The flash didn't find them, so they have the angle to play with. And yeah, Boo gives them the drive-by treatment, but now the shutdown comes in from JD, and Na'Vi get the first on the board in the second half.
That's so strange. I don't know if that's kind of like the pufferfish attempt from Suez there, and Feku's kind of like, yeah, don't come here. You know, we're willing to peek because there's 2 more teammates, almost like forcing Na'Vi to lead towards that stack. But it's just such a weird setup to hold on to A site, and I got to say, giving A site up for retake on the pistol almost just seems like you're dancing with death. It's so tough to come back in here.
Sure, that had to have been either a misread or maybe something that kind of gave them a different idea, because it was a really weird response to that early contact and the next layer to it, right? Like it didn't seem logical in that approach. So there's normally method to the madness, but we simply don't know what it may be. And for now, we look to see if London United can get ratty. Can they find a cubby or a corner or a little bit of a way to find, I don't know, these pistols, any sort of punch to them? Is Na'Vi going to patiently wait?
You see Feku again probing from Sewers to try and set Dreamers up with that shorty, but this time around Na'Vi not entertaining it. And they will drift towards another open site. Yeah, I mean, it's a double holding garage, the rotation just coming through now from Feku pretty early on, actually, because Dreamers is going to follow suit. How many are noted here?
That should be 2. It should be. And the third now. Could be heard. Yeah, that's got to be big information. You can see it instantly. Na'Vi are like, nah, absolutely not. Why the hell would we be going there? So this all then comes down to the one player who's still on that A site. It's going to be Molzy, who's put himself here. He's going to hear all these steps. Calls going to be made. He has to at least get one. He has to get one. And he doesn't get cleared. He does not get cleared. He got a little bit of damage on the others. This sets up maybe a moment for London United to do a bit more damage, but no. Na'Vi reigning dominant right now, and you can see Dreamers desperate.
No way he gets JD.
He still got JD?
Halfway through the reload animation, still finds a kill.
Seems reasonable.
But a heads up from Navi. I mean, they pull the rotation perfectly. And actually read on the back end, and if anybody's wondering, it's obviously the Trailblazer that spots one. The flash comes through so they know the breach, and then they hear the Sheriff from backside. I don't know. Even in the replay, it still doesn't make any sense. He's barely loaded the shell back in and finds the kill on JD.
Okay, we go into it now. This should be the round. You see London United get 9 on the board, or at least do a fairly good attempt at it. Na'Vi do have some rifles out, though, and the op for SSK. So a big, big weapon to come out to play here. And, Cloud gets absolutely whipped to the post by Boo.
That's actually crazy. They were both working the same weird angle there as well. Unfortunately, Boo down top of it. No damage taken either. Something I have noted previously. A clean first engagement for London United. How Na'Vi respond to this. A late drone into mid from Molesey. We'll have his recon bolt back online just about now as well.
My ult's not ready.
We're going exploring elsewhere. I do think that this readjustment coming from Boo could be pretty valuable at this point, just to watch if anyone dares come through. Yeah, just shoulder peeking. Doesn't necessarily have to fight it, but just find that they're going to be heading this way.
Blocking vision.
And again, another smoke put through.
30 seconds left.
Okay, well, a little bit of a bait on the updraft, but won't be in a position to contest the plant. They're already
pushing.
Okay.
They actually just walked the smoke with no flash, nothing to really allow it to come to practice. Unless I missed it, I didn't see it there at all, but it caught a couple off guard, but it's still a numbers advantage to Na'Vi, and they also have the time in their favor. And look at the positioning from Deno. That's the one that's going to be the kicker. Clearing that is brutal, especially with the complementary positions from the other two. Dinks and JD can play around that because they know that this is a clear that has to happen. A tap on the spike, they know the player's isolated. Zep should be heard, but it's not as clean as you'd imagine. Destrian's still going to get the punish on one, but a quick trade out as Na'Vi going to find the scoreline looking ever closer now.
Really well played round by Na'Vi there. You can see actually the adjustment just to play on the back of that gravity well. And that was with London United also noting but you can see the pings coming out. See straight away the focus to try and clear out A-Link, but as I said, two very complimentary angles from mid. JD still had a flash as well at that stage of the round. Noted that on the set, just how late in the round that he's actually still got some of this key utility to make use, and that round could be the one that leads Na'Vi to tie things up. Molesey somehow slipped the net here.
How's he not been noted?
How was he at sandbags? It looked like SSK was straight up on top of that box immediately.
Yeah, I mean, it could be imperative for them if they get a little... Yeah, well, I thought they might get a little something more than that, but Molesey not going to get checked on. Does he get a shot in? No. JD clears it. And London United weren't able to really, supplement that position yet. As you can still see them being a nuisance on long, but you're outgunned here. You know that firepower is just going to be so substantial from Na'Vi. We didn't quite get to see Dreamus brought into this mix yet. He's still all the way over at C, kind of tasked with that very undesirable job of that solo sight hold on so many occasions. But caution still being shown by Na'Vi.
Still respecting the possibility something behind this early contact. And actually, Feku's got a frenzy down in sewers. Boo posted up just at the top of ramp. Not caught or noted on the back of that.
No, so this could pee him up a little bit of damage, and now Feku's been on. Feku's been found, and there's no problems at all. My bad, apologies.
1v4 retake with a judge. What do you reckon? Place your bets, please.
Chat, let us know. Yay or nay?
I feel like he's good for 2. If there's a judge on the board, it's usually good for 2.
I'm saying good for 1.
Right.
I'm only giving it 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is when you need like a David Attenborough voiceover.
No.
David Attenborough. Wild Dreamers is natural habitat.
With the judge main Looking for a potential victim, but none to be found. Oh,
Wow.
well.
Well then.
There's the conclusion to that round. We are all tied up now, and London United might be getting... I don't want to say nervous yet. I think they're just fine at this point.
Well,
Beyond this is when I get nervous, though.
This is the problem, and actually I'm happy to see London United call this timeout, because this is fairly influential. You look at it now, it's tied up, almost in a blink of an eye, those first 4 rounds.
It's pretty swift.
And now London United are in a position where, unfortunately, they're at a massive financial disadvantage, and they lose this round.
Yep.
Ultimately, Na'Vi find double digits. And then what? They find double digits. They then essentially have 1 buy round to hold Na'Vi on what you've got to argue 11 in terms of the expected outcome of the next few rounds. If they win this buy round, London United then have to, do what they did on Ascent and string together a comeback when they were leading 8-4.5.
I mean, we know they've got it in them. We know that they can do it. They can bring a scoreline back, but some of these rounds, the way they're falling down, I
don't feel like London United have had a look in on the second half, Lauren. That's the problem I have with that equation.
They don't have the lay of the land. I don't feel like they've been able to really sink their teeth into what Na'Vi are particularly doing. I don't think they're really going to have much time to adjust. We haven't seen a massive variety of looks yet come out of Na'Vi. It's been quite simplistic, and it's worked. You don't need to...
Just death ball. Just there they walk up, they find a pick,
It's very reactive, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's very hard to read into. And look at this pressure towards Long. And it looks like they're really vying for the control down here.
What do they achieve on the back of that? Yes, I was begging for this on Ascent, London United to kind of take a couple of rounds.
Maybe that mid push?
Yeah, actually they do. They've got somebody tucked in under winner. I didn't even spot that.
Keeps the attention drawn, but what can you do with it, Dreamers? This is all to set you up for success.
You've got the turret for contact in B tight as well. Well, not anymore.
Well, but the timing could still be good. With just the gun at the side, it could still be good. They have no idea. The Seeker is going to draw the shot. This could draw the player, but it does mean JD's dead and gone. But a quick trade out for Deno and Destrian right there. London United is still keeping this one in hand, at least. Cloud, though, again, they're ratting around each other here. Spike now recovered, and the res is going to be attempted as Dinks does at least isolate Fekju. The res comes in, they try and fall back to safety, but it's Molesy waiting. And now the 2v3, looking at this SSK and Dinks, the problem is the Spike is deep in enemy territory.
He's down on 30 HP as well. SSK trying to make things work with an operator. And Boo with the run and gun. Knows he's low HP.
30 seconds left.
Oh, SSK. It's a tall order. A 1v3. We can find this kill onto Destrian. Definitely doable. Needs a weapon swap out. I'm going to believe it. 14 seconds left. I think it's all but concluded.
Also aware. And again, a very interesting start, kind of that commitment to make that push down long, keep all of that attention garnered to maybe facilitate a little bit of that mid-rattiness that came down. It's actually... I guess it kind of paid off.
Hey, I mean, that's what I was waiting for on Ascent. Is London United not just sit back and it's difficult really when, like I said, that's fantastic work from Molesy, by the way, on the back of the Rolling Dundee to find or be on the other side of Garage to greet those 2 kills. But this is what I was asking for on Ascent, right? London United to be decisive, play confidently, rely on some of these set pieces, and ultimately, Na'Vi kind of just walk into it. It looks awkward at first because you almost come away from that initial engagement with C-Long and say, well, investment, they can kind of then just mitigate that with the Trailblazer, force them back on C-Long. But the second piece, you're absolutely right, is that Ratty play in mid.
You are divided.
And a quick divide's going to come out, and look at the reaction already. The stack towards this B site. They are there in numbers, bodies just littering.
Mike not committed yet, though.
No. I'm waiting to see where this goes. Going right towards Fekju. So this is going to be Fekju's time to shine, but he's going to be just danced around and dodged around. Dinks is the one to get it in the end. The investment of the ult, and they're going to now see those rotations, maybe reconsider their options and make a mad dash for it. You've already got progress towards Garage.
Yep. Yeah, I just noticed that on the back of Dreamers just drifting out, I think, of range of his utility. As 3, London United will push through A just to make absolutely sure.
Well, I love Dinks' position. Keeping him here is so valuable. If he can stay alive and play his life, which he's already done, And again, any more is just obscene. He's heard all the steps. They're going to line up, but he doesn't get to take them down. But he's got all the information. So every single fact should filter through. And you're right, yeah. Look at Molzy, Destrian, both looking a little far from perfect. And now it's the back line, right? It's the rest of Na'Vi that have been waiting, and time being bought by every single step the London United have to take, and the cross being watched by Cloud. He has his flash as well if he feels it's necessary, but the gun at the side should be enough to at least keep this cross well enough safe. Oh, he's just toying with them. Beautiful play between the two. The push and the pull. Where's the trade? It's there. Not as quick as you'd like, but SSK there nonetheless. So again, scoreline just closing and closing in, but Na'Vi, good response, and between that, nice little bit of work from Dinks there. So many nice looks coming through.
Really, the knock-on effect to that previous round. What, 3 survive, right? Already, London United back in a position where they're going to suffer that financial advantage that Na'Vi had a few rounds ago. I mean, SSK on 4,400, 2,100. Yes, the cracks are starting to show, but Na'Vi still have a purchase behind this, I feel, especially with SSK on the Blade Storm. We're back in that position. Actually, we'll get the force purchase around the Blade Storm on the side of Feku here. London United, and this is interesting as well. When everything's tied up at 9-9, I guess want to get ahead of the curve a little bit.
Ooh. Off the back of hearing them try and clear long, they're actually going to try and push up through middle. I like this, just off the back of those audio cues. But you can see Cloud considering that something's amiss. An itch goes past. They have no idea that Feku is this close, and he knows he's got a window. But look who's trying to fill that Dinks. If Dinks gets here in time, he could fill this gap. Even if he just holds this, they've got a feeling that something's gone weirdly wrong, maybe.
No
and
way,
Dinks has read it. How did Na'Vi even consider this?
On the back of the flash as well, confirming nothing in mid.
Unreal. Unreal. And that was meant to be the tip of the spear, right? Now the side looking a little bit duller, but there's still a chance. They've got ults potentially to invest and wait and see if they go for it. There it is.
Has JD got the lineup? Of course he's got the lineup. Does that land? Of course it lands. Beautiful.
Oh. This man's, he's an all-rounder, is JD. Looking good to go, and yeah, this is confirmed. Looking like a Na'Vi round. Dreamer's the last one alive, and there's nothing looking safe here. Good start, but a bad ending, as Zeno is the one to seal it. And Na'Vi now, double digits achieved, 10 on the skillity work coming out. Not being, I don't want to call him like that headline superstar, right? He's not popping off in every single occasion, but what a well-rounded player so far.
Like I said, this almost suits JD perfectly, because I think we've seen the mechanical prowess for him to be self-sufficient, but also we know his time on NIP serving as that support role, that initiator role, it's always the full picture with JD. I think this series already, I mean, across both maps we've seen, kind of solidifies that. United going to try and get a little aggressive here for the first time, actually straight into a lobby.
Okay, and a triple push up on long. I'm never against it. I like a bit of creativity in these rounds. Do a bit of damage, take away a weapon, force those reinvestments if you can. They got to check on one, but there is 2 more places, and they've now noted 2, potentially a 3rd. Should be heard, as I'm pretty sure Molzy already took a big chunk of damage himself, so this has been read pretty quickly.
Ultimately not going to be able to progress any further. Dreamers will catch a headshot as well, under 44 HP. First Nano Swarm pop. It's just so tough to make something happen here in this round for London United. Na'Vi know it. It's looking to pile on the pressure now.
Spike planted.
Yeah, I don't think Molzy's going to get much unless Cloud decides he wants to feed. 5 HP in a dream.
Don't give a kill to JD. That's the way I see this here, Molzy.
Yeah.
It'd be the worst person to give one to coming into the next round. The buy round to have.
Oh no.
Okay. Now JD just needs to find an ult orb, and on the buy round, they can resort back to this death ball, which that has just looked so good for Na'Vi. Unfortunately, on Haven, with the ability to push and pull rotations the way that they've already demonstrated to us is really, really worrying.
I think I'm getting a little worried now seeing this, because I'm worried that London United are going to run out of steam. And I just pocket plays.
They're not actually going to go for the C-long orb. You can see already just a little bit of utility on the minimap to deny that. It's a good awareness from London United, but actually doesn't look like that's going to be the intention. Bash actually misses it. Try and follow up on that initial pressure. No way they get the A-long orb, right? Surely not. Feku down to 61 HP already. Forced off a lot of these early angles. Seeker's invested as well. There's a 4-player stack behind this on A site. It would be huge actually if JD does find the ultimate ahead of this execute. No, that's how they're going to force their way through. Destrian will find the first. Slow down a little bit, and actually Feku will find JD. So removing the possibility there, Dino's just got to B-hop his way onto the spike here. A crucial kill comes through Dinks as well.
Not this again.
Not again.
They had everything they wanted, right? They got the site, they kept it under wraps, they got those first 2 imperative picks, and then suddenly there's a loss on the other side of the map. This is where I'm starting to sweat a little bit. I'm getting a little nervous for them. They're still clearing long. Now, again, rightly so to an extent, maybe feeling there's still a lurk, right? Maybe feeling there's still a player here, but you got to speed up a little more. Did those audio cues get heard?
They know Dinks was in garage, so they almost can move a little quicker here, Lauren. That's the point I'm making.
SSK should hear some of this. I don't know how much.
We spotted him. Yeah, 100% spotted him.
And the call's been made that there's at least one here, so they now know where they're roughly coming from. They should be able to have a little bit of faith in the utility and a quick culling of Boo. And now looking towards long, there's going to be players now pouring forward. 3 to be precise. They're all there, and the cross again going to be a problem. Noted. At least 2, but actually, London... Dinks, no way, not again. This guy is the final boss, and the jump through, he's caught him with both hands, safely brought to the chest, as Na'Vi going to make it to 12.
Match.
It's just great. I mean, I was noting their ability to push and pull rotation. That there is another fine example. Dinks, right place, right time, and the right person to find is Dreamus, desperately trying to anchor B site and C site at the same time, because we know how much focus was put on
enemy remaining
to hold on to A. And actually, I mean, it's almost a saving grace that they didn't retrieve the orb, because now, against a funky purchase, JD does have his ultimate. Blade Storm as well, Neural Theft, yeah, take it or leave it. London United, Hunter's Fury and a Rolling Thunder to work with, but there's gaps. There's gaps in this purchase. Vector, Guardian, Bulldog, another Guardian. Again, look at Molesey's utility. We'll rely on getting almost a dry kill with that Hunter's Fury. Maybe use the recon bolt when it comes back off cooldown, but I think this is the thing as well. Knowing full well that Dreamus has majority of the time been positioned towards garage or C, they're going to move this way with JD's ultimate.
Right, Boo's seen pretty much everything he needs to know, and now the trouble begins, because Na'Vi are not going to slow down. It's a 1-for-1 trade. JD right there to make sure he trades the jet on the way in, so it's not too bad for Na'Vi. They can get that spike down, and now have to look at what's already in line for the retake from London United. They need something here, and you can once again see that Dinks is keeping so much space in check. He's holding the entirety of that garage play back in, at least from middle. Might have to reinvestigate in case someone like Dreamus does slip through, but they've already just evacuated the site. They don't need to sit on it potentially, and they're going to give up at least site control, because they can play back in as Cloud can catch the cross. JD, did he at least get that off? I don't think it does land. It does indeed, so big time being bought.
What? Thank you, actually, Franz will do it. It comes to 1v1.
And time's becoming to be a bit of a problem. Jump peek on the first, it's not halfway, and the swing out, the step out from Deno. It's closed down, it's 13-9. I've got to say it, London United looking like they ran out of steam on that second half, and Na'Vi took a stride in the right direction.
Yeah, a huge positive for me, though, is seeing that one round that I was, like I said, I was left waiting for on Ascent. Okay. That's a big positive, but I think here it comes back to what we mentioned, right? We've seen glimmers of absolute excellence from London United, but the next piece of the puzzle is replicating that when, you know, the competition gets tougher, the stakes are raised, and they put up a fight. I just feel this there wasn't enough for me to really feel confident again that London United can translate all the positives we've seen previously, Lauren.
Yeah, and again, across the board, it's kind of hard to characterize who you'd say had a great deal of impact. But for me, especially in that second map, I've got to say Dinks is just really stepping forward with influence, I guess, on frags. And then outside of that, though, you think of how they were set into motion, so much good work coming out from JD. I actually find it really, really hard to clarify. So actually, rather than getting our opinions, why don't you let us know who your player of the match would be? You have the option of JD, Dinks, or Cloud. Head over to Twitter, get your thoughts in, because I actually think it's pretty debatable. It depends on what you really value, I guess. Mike, where would you put your vote towards?
I think for me to look at both maps as a whole, it's got to be JD, right? The impact on Ascent in particular, I think it was another fantastic demonstration of the application of KO. And I think actually Navi's adjustment around that composition looked great. And we've already seen really from the reps that it's working really well for them. This was just another example really to add to that.
Yeah, and again, more reps for London United. Look forward to see what they can do in the future, really. In my eyes, how do they keep looking? Can they still keep pushing? Because those glimmers of what impressed us so much did bubble to the surface, but just not often enough. And anyway, enough from us. We can head to a short break, and when all is said and done, the desk will talk you through all their expectations now going forward for either side after this break.
I'm legendary. I'm legendary. Notorious, victorious, I'm legendary. I'm legendary. I'm legendary. All I do is win. I'ma raise the trophy up once again. You did all you could, but you gon' have to try again next year. All I do is win. I'ma raise the trophy up once again. You did all you could, but you gon' have to try again next year. All I do is win. I'ma raise the trophy up once again. You did all you could, but you gon' have to try again next year. Oh yeah, I've been shooting in the gym, getting it, oh yeah. Watch me how I ball, watch the Rangers fall, yeah. I've been on my grind, team been winning, oh yeah. They hate it when I shine, I'm like, give me mine, yeah. I see you wanna win on my rings, but you don't wanna win on my team, yeah. I see they wanna say the same thing, but we don't really know what you mean, yeah. I'm legendary.
myths are made to be broken, and that is exactly what Na'Vi did on London United's winning streak map of Haven. It's a 2-0 for Na'Vi. You guys definitely didn't expect that. What did you make of that result?
It was surprising, really. Like, it was definitely concerning from Ascent that you're sort of looking at London United going, okay, like, this is the map that they need to find performance on. They started off well. They had some really nice clutches on their attacking side. They had some good ways of playing around the maps. Even if they were in 4v5s, they turned it around. But that defensive side, 1 round out of 10, was a nightmare for them.
And it's the exact same result that they got on Ascent. Only 1 round on the defense in both of the maps. And of course, it's devastating to see a London United like this because, as you mentioned, you know, starting on the attack, an 8-4, I think it's a good result from both sides. Of course, we kind of expected a little bit of London United doing to Na'Vi what they did to them on Ascent, but it just couldn't be. And the way that Na'Vi was playing around the map, especially even on the defense, knowing that it's going to be hard for you to execute those retakes because you don't have the SOBA. The information is never going to be as complete as when you have a SOBA. It can be that direct with it. I'm surprised. I'm happy to see a Na'Vi this strong, and I saw kind of like the same play style around the KO, you know, working a lot for his utility, for his timings, trying to get his ultimate as much as possible, and I'm kind of happy. Only thing is, it could be counterable for next week.
I mean, Pansy and Hypog spoke towards the end that they were afraid that London United were going to run out of gas, run out of steam. Do you feel like that's what happened?
Yes, completely. I think, like, especially when I think it got to the same point where was happening on Ascent. Literally the same thing. Okay, this is happening. What are we going to do to counter it? Do we go extra aggressive? The problem is the snowball was already getting so big that they had like maybe 2 or 3 full buys.
The duo as well of like the Sky KO as a comp, it just almost fatigues you as London United to deal with. Not only that many flashes, but the information that Na'Vi are able to get on the attacking side of just being able to rotate around the map. It was like London United were running laps on their defense, going from the A site, getting picked on C, having to run back to C, and Na'Vi wanted to play a lot of those like 5v5 like retakes and post plants. They were happy to face off against that much utility, but when they get that spike planted, they like to spread out, and it just meant that London United couldn't keep a track of them.
Yeah, exactly. And they were racing the stakes completely over and over. They get to the bonus. They've lost some of the players, and they're like, if we actually get the bonus, even though that they picked this map, we can actually perform with the combat. SSK goes on the operator. He's like, yeah, this is all or nothing. They want every single round. They want a performance like they had on Ascent, and they delivered it.
I mean, there were a lot of interesting rounds.
And even now, it's a 3v3. It's certainly doable for London United, but look at all of the post-plan positions from Na'Vi. They're in so many great spots. You have a good tell of what utility's been used from there, from this position the Cloud is in. And like, need I say more at this point? Like, Na'Vi actually showed a good showing, and maybe a lot of people were writing them off. Some people said they've been amazing in scrims recently, so I think that this is the side of Na'Vi that we're kind of more excited to see and could be a push for playoffs if they can beat the likes of FPX and Big.
And especially that round, I think also it's a very important round because they were coming off of that, getting that bonus. It's a full buy from London. You know that you have to give your 100%. And it's probably a response to what was happening on A for them when that execute is so frontal and so direct of London just getting that first kill, jumping onto site when you don't have to use your utility or barely have to use any to get onto site. The post-plant is going to be extremely easy for you. So if you force that out of the other team, expecting that you're going to give them the same that they give you on the attack, you know that rotation is going to come quick. The response has to be quick on your side. You trust that Dinks is going to have your back and you just work from there.
Also, how important that round was, right? Because that essentially snowballed them enough so they ended up winning the entire series as well. I'm glad you mentioned Dinks because I want to talk about him. For those that don't know him, back in the Summon FC days, he was kind of picked up at that time. And Mini specifically said the reason they let him go is because he felt like he would be more comfortable on a CIS team with the communication and the freedom. And Ryan, and Mini's not often wrong about anything, is he?
No, and I'm pretty sure that Dinks would have been happy to have held out if Na'Vi was knocking at the door too, right? I mean, Dinks also played on a team with Angel way back when with Party Pirates. He was their Sentinel player, and when Xiao and Angel were picked up, a lot of people were sort of wondering, like, Dinks is good enough to be picked up by the likes of FPX, right? Na'Vi suits him really nicely. He's sort of maybe not lived up to that expectation between then and now, but today was like the reminder of why he's so good, and he's going to have to play up against his old IGL at some point soon as well.
I love when we highlight the Sentinels. You, of course, love it because I feel like the role is so important on a team, especially on the attack where you're like, oh my god, yeah, on the defense, you're going to be strongholding, you're going to be, using the cages, slowing them down, maybe dealing some damage if you're on the killjoy. But it's so important, the role that they fulfill when you're attacking and they're covering all the sides so you can actually execute and have a flank completely covered.
We have a lot of good Sentinel players in this region, especially the ones
we have Jets, we have Sentinels. We're the best region in the world, Sue.
That is true. But the amount of players, someone like Dinks, for example, he has not changed his agent pool since 2020. He's like, in my mind, when I close my eyes, it's like Meadow, Dinks, like these players, they're just that trusted Sentinel role, which, like you said, Kakuka, you need that on your team.
Yeah, completely. Also, for example, I don't know, Logan, I can think of a lot of names. We can obviously think about Nats because we love Nats. But I feel like we have a very good pool, and if we had to make super teams in Europe, we could make more than one, more than two, even more than three, being like, yeah, this is literally top tier players. This could be crazy, and we would beat up the rest of the regions.
If his Viper can live up to his Killjoy and Cypher, then you've got that nice trifecta of Sentinel agents to pop off on. I got to say as well, there were some good moments from Dreamass, like a lot of clutches, a lot of good things, but it kind of maybe teams are looking at that Ascent comp and maybe deterred away from the chamber, knowing that you could get a lot of consistency and almost middle results. Like, you're not too aggressive, you're not too passive. That Killjoy seems so good on Ascent, so the fact that Dingster can be such a good Cypher is what we know him for, but also match up on the Killjoy, very nice.
Yeah, and speaking of Dinks, it's his day today. He's having a great day at 2-0, taking home the player of the match vote as well. I know Pansy Hypox said this one was kind of up for debate, and I think it was. I think any of the players on the side of Na'Vi, Kakuka today, you could have made a case for them.
Yeah, of course. I'm going to highlight JD again. I'm going to do it, I think, like from week 1 to week 5, we're going to keep talking about JD. Cloud as well was there. I'm really happy, that we highlight. I don't think that SSK was like that far behind. I think that he had a really, really good performance on Ascent. Maybe not so flashy on Haven, but to me, Navi stand up on like a line, and to have all of the players playing behind it, I think it's what we want to see.
It was just that consistent performance round on round. Like, it sort of just looked middle of the pack. I didn't realize that out of all of the series, he top fragged out of everybody. Yeah. But it was that 4K at the end that I think sort of sealed the deal, right? Yes. Where he's just able to like clutch out in those moments, and he is the typical ratty CIS Cypher player that we like to see.
Yeah, I love that. I feel like we talk about almost like stereotypes of what we expect from players, like the amazing Turkish Jets, now the ratty CIS players we're bringing over. But what does this mean for London United? Because this is one of those matchups, if you compare to the rest of the teams in this group, they had a very good chance of winning. Going forward, how big of a setback is this when you look at the next opponents?
It gets harder and harder as time goes on. Big next week, then FPX, and then Liquid, and then Gambit.
Oh, it's like an actual ladder.
Yeah, right. So like that big game is so important for them. It's a shame that they have such a pivotal game to start off with and sort of put their worst foot forward in this case against Na'Vi. But they have to adapt. And there's so much that they could change, right? Composition or ideas and stuff like that. Yes. I think Big, they could probably get away with it a bit more. It is a grudge match, though, because Big knocked him out of the Open Qualifiers last time, too. So that's a good one to watch.
It's a constant story of revenge. I think that today they made very silly mistakes that we do not expect for them, like going 1 by 1, just picking off the wrong timings. Also, they lost 4 out of 4 pistols. So, of course, starting every map knowing that you're 2 runs down, it doesn't set the best of the mentals. So I think that we're going to be seeing changes from next week that we're not going to see. I think that they have a good shot against Big. I know that Big is probably watching this game. Hello to everybody named Big. But of course, there's things to pick up. I think that there's going to be improvements 100% because this is not the London United that we saw a couple weeks ago.
Well, London United and Navi, they're going to be back in action next week. We're going to take a quick break here, but don't go anywhere. BBL versus Guild is on the way.
I'm legendary. I'm legendary. Notorious. Victorious. I'm legendary. I'm legendary. I'm legendary.
Too many motherfucking S-tier daggles, mother cousins. Oh, am I being a sellout again? Sorry, 1 second. Let me just drink my exclamation mark G Fuel in the chat. Keeps me energized, focused. Essential vitamins, antioxidants, exclamation mark G Fuel in the chat. Thank you so much. And make sure you sub to the channel as well. Thank you very much. Are you saying I'm a sellout? No. Shut up. No chance. Is that the Adderall flavored G Fuel? Yeah. No. Wait, did you
Of course, today is the last day of VCT in the opening weekend for Challengers, but don't worry, starting tomorrow, we're going to bring you guys some VRL. I'm not going to lie, guys, some of the leagues we have in VRL is just as competitive, if not more competitive than VCT. There are too many good teams in EMEA right now.
Yeah, exactly. If you do not have plans for Valentine's Day, no worries. We got you covered not only for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday as well. Of course, it's going to be running the entire week. Love to see it. Of course, my favorite is going to be Spain. We have Giants, we have Heretics, we have we have too many good teams. I'm sorry.
It's just like the day in, day out of Valorant now, isn't it, really? Because we've just got this for 3 days and then the VRLs for 3 days and a bit of a break. It's just there's so much to catch up on. But the fact that some of these teams will be coming in to maybe take a spot for challenges later on in the year, I think all of the teams, even at this tournament, are sweating to make sure that they don't get into that promotion scrap and hoping that they keep onto that spot because it is incredibly competitive in this region.
I mean, that's the beauty of VRLs, right? Because 2 teams will have the chance from VRLs to potentially come to VCT Challengers for the next season. And like I said, I feel like some of these leagues are just so insanely stacked. LVP, the Polaris one as well. We have so many good teams in there. Are there any teams you guys would keep an eye out for or any matchups you feel like people at home should definitely go check out?
Yonk supremacy.
Exactly.
I like how I was like,
that for me.
No.
You did.
I like how I'm screaming LVP Spain and you're like, nah, Yonk.
I mean, I'm looking forward to anything that comes out of LVP, not only because I've been working with them, just because I feel like in Spain we have a pretty big and friendly community and all the teams are like super supportive between each other and we have like very healthy competition. So I'm really looking forward to anything that comes out of Spain and of course Yonk, because he's there.
It's also good to see other talent come in as well. Like certainly for like UK, just some of the other guys that are coming in that have done some good jobs. So yeah, like I'm very excited to keep us on our toes as well, to be fair, like because there's so many great talent across the production scene, the players, the coaches, all that kind of stuff, that having a platform to do that from outside of Challengers, I think is only a good thing, right?
Yeah, of course. Like I said, again, they're starting tomorrow, so don't worry if you guys get kind of the post-VCT blues. There's more action, don't worry. And speaking of action, let's talk about the second best of 3 of today. The last 2 teams that we haven't seen yet at VCT, we'll talk about BBL first. Mentioned it earlier, this is the team that I feel like has the biggest fan base. Everybody's super excited to see them, probably the highest expectations as well. So Kakuka, again, do you feel like this is the time they fulfill those? This is where they could do it with a new roster?
Maybe, yeah. I saw that a lot, but I really like the interview that we have with Vlad. If anybody's just joining in, he gave a lot of insight of how the team is working, how they've been able to overcome all these difficulties that they had, especially at the end of 2021. But this lineup is stacked. All the swaps in roles that we've been seeing, Power coming in as the ideal with all the experience that he's gathered during the time. I really think that this is the strongest that BBL has gotten so far. I feel like the way that they've started 2022 is amazing. And maybe not for this time, but for 2 or 3 months, this is going to be extremely stacked.
I think for this time, I'm going to throw that in now and say this could be the time they start. But yeah, Ryan, what do you think?
I'm more of a patient person on this. I think that like it's not a case of the new players coming in, like we'll highlight QT in a second. It's not so much that they've come in and there's suddenly a honeymoon period because those players are popping off. It's also Aslan, who has been on the roster for so long since the beginning, that is having a nice sort of growth into playing and performing ridiculously, right? So everybody's stacking up the performance. And considering what we saw from Navi, where everybody on that side had a good game, I feel like energy could be the same for BBL, but I think there's a difference in an opponent when it comes to Guild versus London United, right? I think Guild should be stacking up well nicely here, but I am excited for the promise of BBL.
Yeah, and last year we only saw them playing against Liquid and Gambit, both resulting in a loss. So of course we want a different side of BBL. And as I said, this all comes with the revenge, okay? We have grudge matches and all that stuff. They have, some pending issues with SMB. They sent them on the first instance to that close qualifier, but I feel like the second one, they had a really good run. And even though it wasn't clean, okay, it was not as successful, for example, as Guild, that was like one of the big surprises of this year, they did have all that practice that they needed to get here.
Wasn't it LCQ that we were saying that Guild were the Turkish Slayers? Like the teams?
Yeah, Guild played only Turkish team and knocked all of them out.
All of them out, right? So I think back to like Stage 2, where Guild lost and went out of Stage 2 and Reykjavik opportunities because they lost to Oxygen in really surprising fashion, right? Obviously, this is a very different Guild team. But BBL, they have a lot to prove. I think both these teams are stacking up to be as good as they possibly can.
Yeah, I think one thing we've got to mention, I can't believe I'm saying this for those that don't know BBL, because I don't know who those people are, because this is such a popular team. But for those of you who don't know BBL, I feel like that's where the origin of the Turkish Jet came from. You know, we love Turkish Jets. We have a lot of insane Turkish Jet players, but BBL were the ones that started this. If we take a look at the players, the Jet players are used to play on BBL. This lineup, Ryan, is absolutely insane.
Yeah, not only have you got somebody like Fred is probably the most unknown, but I remember when Fred was signed, he played in the Red Bull Campus Clutch and just dominated everybody in that tournament. So that didn't work out. Russ went over to SMB, then over to Giants, and a guy called CNED.
Yeah,
I don't know if anybody's heard of it.
I honestly have no idea. It's funny because most of the people do not know where CNED came from. They felt like Ascend discovered him as a Jet player, and that is not the case. The question is QT going to live up to those expectations now? Because if we set the bar on, hey, CNED was here, CNED was here. You have to step up even in being even better than him, or even being at the same level. We don't have, that many people that can live up to that. And I think it's not only about QT. I think like the rest of the team has to, come forward and be like, hey, we're still BBL. You need to talk about us.
He feels very different from the other Turkish Jets that we've seen. Even if you think to like Footballist and Kiwi, they always come in and pop off. I don't know if you're necessarily going to get that from QT. It would be great if you could. He was also on a team with like Brave, Izzy, and Cider X as well, right? So that Kaflar esports team was stacked. I wish we got to see more of them. It's the fact that like he's a bit more passive, but you also have seen CNED move in that direction. CNED's come a long way from being that insane BBL Jet player that he was back then to being something a bit more passive and playing around the team. That is what you're going to get with QT, I think.
I mean, it's lucky that QT's teammates are also completely very capable players. You mentioned Aslan already. I kind of want to deep dive into him a little bit more, because I don't think anybody thought, the Turkish fans that love this team and loved Aslan for so long, thought that he was going to be the person coming into 2022 to play like every agent under the sun. We're used to seeing him play in the Omen, but Kakuka, throughout the qualifiers, he's been the standout flex player.
And that's something that we love to see, because we've been highlighting, and we talked about this on the pre-show as well, how we highlight and talk about the teams being flexible and adapting to the meta no matter what, no matter who has to play what. And the fact that BBL is not falling back on that, is that we're not going to be late to this trend. We're going to actually step in and be one of those teams. I think it says a lot about them, and especially a lot about Aslan.
I think it's also funny in the sense of like, for Astra there, like the clips that you're seeing is just, he's playing it in a very aggressive way that has become the way of playing Astra. I think way back when we sort of criticised BBL and Oxygen for not playing Astra when she was starting to come into the game and be meta, I feel now that they like BBL and others have seen how aggressive it can be with Astra. Like, oh, I like this. I can get behind this idea. But like playing Brimstone, playing Sage, like it was a monster performance with the stats that he was putting out for this team through the qualifiers. They did qualify second, so they're not the best team in Turkey as of right now. They're going to have a word with SMB further on in the tournament, right? But I think if they could beat Guild, that would be an amazing testament to how far this team can go. And Turkey will have a nice night tonight. They'll be happy.
I mean, you also heard it from Vlad, right? They understand that the European teams see them as, oh, they can shoot, they can aim. But the way that they moved on with the meta, they're playing the KO as well. They're not just here to kind of aim at you. They've got strats, they've got the tactical diversity as well, which means they're going to be very scary.
And they have power now. That
they haven't
comes from you. I think that they've sent them as a spy and be like, okay, well, you're going to get into heretics, okay? And you're going to get all the information how the things work, okay? Then you're going to try and get and be an IGL as it was on SMB. And now with all the knowledge that you've been gathering for an entire year, now we want you, and you're going to be, guiding us through victory.
Vlad's been watching and casting a lot of in Turkish, like all of the other regions and stuff, right? Like sort of international events. So he's got a good gauge of what other people are doing outside of Turkey. So I think that both him and Pora, they're going to think a bit more outside the box than what we expect. That's what I want to see. I don't even care if they lose to Guild today. I want to see them play in that style, have the positives of what you expect to see from a Turkish team, but also that EMEA flair, which is slow, defaulty, a very mindful game, which I think you are going to get from Pora and Vlad at the helm.
I think so too. But like you said, if they want a victory today, they have to beat a Guild. Now, this is not the same Guild we saw last year. They had a bit of an overhaul, much to Kakuka's dismay in the off-season. But Ryan, many people are saying that this is the best Guild have ever looked.
Yeah, just because of the pickups. You have the thing that made Guild so excellent last time with Leo and Safe still on this roster, but you pick up one of the most prominent IGLs with Coldamenta. You pick up Russ, who is an underrated person weapon that's on that sort of flashing agent. Certainly his Sky is incredible. And then Trex, who was pretty unknown for a lot of people, but has performed tremendously on that flex, mostly Sentinel role.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Guild in a little bit as well, but we've been mentioning that Vlad interview so much, I feel like we should show it to people again in case they weren't here for the pre-show. This is what Vlad had to say earlier. I'm now joined by the head coach of BBL, Vlad. Hi, Vlad. Welcome to VCT. Now, in the past, you've been in my position as a broadcast talent. It's been very inspiring to see your journey to go from a caster to being the coach of one of the biggest organizations in the world. Talk me through how this experience has been for you.
Yeah, hi Ian. So first of all, it's been challenging for a couple of months because we were searching for our last player, and turns out to be Pora, one of the best IGLs and players in the world currently. And yeah, it's been challenging, but we finally got through EMEA. That's cool.
I do want to ask about the new signings because Pora, also QT as well, a little bit newer for you guys. Why did you decide to go with these two players? What do these two players bring to your team?
Well, first of all, I know Kushner has been an experienced player and pretty much underrated in Turkish community, but he turned out to be a good player and key player for us. His experience combining Poras were just the chemistry, so to say, we were looking for, and yeah, we got through.
What's it like for you to work with someone like Pora? Like you said, he's very experienced. Is there anything that you've kind of been teaching him, or maybe something that he's been teaching you as well?
Well, of course, because my coaching experience was way before than VALORANT, and his experience it out-qualifies me sometimes, and we can join some ideas together and combine them in the tactical diversity. From his Heretics days, he's been well managing and doing everything he can to become a worldwide known player, and it's really awesome to play and work with him.
Now, the last time BBL played in Europe, admittedly, I don't think you were on the team at the time, but they didn't have the nicest time against the European teams. But now in this group, you have quite a few European teams you have to go up against. So what do you make of your group? What do you make of the other EU teams? And do you think you guys are going to be able to challenge them this time?
Well, back then they were lost against Team Liquid while I was casting in Turkish language as well. That's why I can remember that vivid. It was really emotional times back then, but now it's more professional than what it used to be. First of all, what European teams think of us is like keen to aim power, but we're combining into tactical diversity as much as we can, and we're approaching the matter way more professional than what it used to be. So if we can really combine and comfort the players in the real game, Prax has been going so well in this process, and if we can mirror this into official games, I think we can go through the playoff stage. One of the best EMEA teams has been in our group as well. I wish all of them good luck, but since we're starting with Guild, I think they need some opportunity against us, because I know we can beat them.
Oh, I love it. I'm with you. I believe BBL can make it as well. Thank you so much, Vlad, for joining me today, and good luck in your game later.
Thank you. Can I say some last words?
Go for it.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so I wish all the best for Turkish community in this process. I know they're supporting us really well, and I just need them to keep supporting us and believe us. And last but not least, so
thank you so much, Vlad. And yeah, again, we'll see you later in your game.
Thank you.
I had to do it again, and yeah, I thought he was going to say Forza BBL, but I'm going to throw that one out there for you guys because Vlad didn't say it. But we spoke about this in the pre-show as well, but that whole kind of belief in that they can do it, and maybe be a bit more patient in the fact that this is a long-term project. Clearly, you don't bring in Pora in just for one tournament, you know, you want to be going to international events in the future, Kakuka, which is something that they are very much capable of doing.
Yeah, exactly. In the long run, this project should work. I also want to see it inside the server, you know, because sometimes, for example, SMB, we saw a really good face of them yesterday, maybe being too eager and too aggressive. of course, the shooting is going to be clean. That is what we expect from any kind of Turkish player. But I want to also see, the tactical side that he was talking about, going into depth on the game and proving that they're not here just to click heads.
Yeah, you want to see him sort of have a similar series to what we saw from SMB yesterday against Ascend, right? Where it's actually putting these big teams under a lot of pressure. It's doable. There's also still an element of like Pora is still relatively fresh to IGL, and when he came into SMB, he hadn't done it before, and so he was learning on the go. Now he's come in to be an IGL. It wasn't something that was enforced onto him just because of the players that they had. He came in wanting to do that, and I think that combination with Vlad is going to be exciting. I just wonder how much we're going to see him lurk off, right? Like when he goes on his own, it's so hard to make calls as an IGL if you're completely separate to what the rest of the team is doing. It's almost like the left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing in a lot of cases. So that's the only concern. But from the VODs that I've watched, it hasn't really looked too much like an issue, not like it did on SMB.
Yeah, and also, especially compared to the last time we did see BBL in EMEA, they do look much, much better. Now, I have a quick update for you guys. At home, we are experiencing a little bit of client issues, but tournament officials are on it. And I'll let you guys know as soon as everything is sorted and we're ready to jump into the next game. But we can't do that without talking about Guild properly. First, Ryan, you mentioned a bit about them already, but Kakuka, I can see your heartbreak at this. But Coldamenta, you can love Coldamenta as much as you love Bonka.
Before we dive into Guild, I have to say, I was looking at you while you were saying that we are having some issues with the server, because I was thinking, of course, Pampok is here. How are we going to have an entire day without some difficulties? But yeah, of course, there's a lot to talk about this Guild roster. Coldamenta jumping in, as Ryan was mentioning before. Leo and Saif being the only ones remaining for that initial core. It's very funny because maybe if they would have kept 3 of their players, they would have been invited to that close qualifier, and maybe we would have seen a worse Guild than the one that we have today, because as we know, on that first week, every single team that was invited actually fell and had to go through the open qualifier and do the whole run. On the side of Guild, they only dropped one single map, one icebox against Rebels, looking incredible. Every single one on the roles. Coldamenta, as you were mentioning, jumping onto being a controller. Saif going back to being a jet, almost like Artis was doing. So a lot of innovative things, a lot of going to the past, bringing also tracks that might be, as Ryan was saying, the most unknown out of the squad, but having a performance that is literally what everybody was talking about.
Yeah, Safe on the Jet's an interesting one because he had such a performance and there was very little answer for the teams that he were playing against to Safe's aggression. Before we saw the groups, I remember sort of saying, like on Plat Chat, I wonder what Safe's going to do when he goes up against a team like Gambit, like Liquid, like FPX or Big, that sort of like have a plan to sort of shush Safe as much as possible. But when you look at the rest of the group, when it comes to Jets, right, you got CNED, you've got Ardis that had a great day yesterday, you've got obviously all of these other teams as well, like QT today. Safe is in a position where he's going up against other aggressive Jets. We saw a little bit of it as well today, that he's going to feel fine. I think he's going to be sort of let off the leash and find a lot of success because he has been doing so far. I just want to see it tested a little more to see what he does.
I think he might have kind of responded to you as well, indirectly, about the Jet comments, and he feels like he is one of the best Jets in the region. Do you guys think that this is the time for him to prove it, or do you feel like he's done enough already?
I think that there's still a lot to be proven, especially on the side of Guild, because we still haven't seen them against the big names, those big orgs, those 4 teams especially that we're waiting. But it's a good start. I'm not giving it up just yet.
Yeah, I'm just, we spoke about it briefly, like me and Save, where he's just like, Jet is an aggressive agent. That's the sort of like lean in and it works out nicely. And you got to credit him for that because it has been working. I think it's just more like the adaptation of like CNEDs. You could be like yay for Envy, now Optic, sure. But I think what I liked from watching CNED over last year was he went from being super aggressive, not finding success because teams played around him and they punished him for it, to then playing a bit more team focused and a bit slower and not having to feel like he needs to put the game on his back. So it's almost like that maturity of playing Jet for a long time, seeing how it changes over time. Like Safe is in the honeymoon early days, right? I want to see him blossom and mature as a player generally, not just on the Jet, to be one of the best in the world. He has that ability to be god tier at this game.
Yeah, and one of the experiences that every team has to go through is losing, okay? And one map doesn't make it for me. So if you really want to be the best Jet in the region and you're aiming for it, you're on the right track. Now, we want to see how you stand up after you lose against a big name, as we were mentioning.
If they lose against a big name. I hate this transition, but speaking of losing, 2021 for Guild.
It's Guild.
No, I just feel like a lot of the times they did lose were at times where they were so close. You know, Ryan, they were so close. They were nearly every single time they were nearly making to the next stage, but they would fall. Like always, the bridesmaid, never the bride. So if we look back through that, what does that tell you about what they were going through?
Yeah, so on screen we're going to show like all of their placements for games that gave VCT points, right? Like we saw them in Masters getting third or fourth, which was really good. That was the event that Ascend ended up winning and getting on everybody's team. Stage 2 was the worst of it, I think, where they were like 1-2 games away from qualifying for Reykjavik. They lost to Oxygen before they even got... We were like, oh, it's going to be Guild versus Team Liquid, see who qualifies. And then Oxygen just seemed to randomly beat Guild at that point. It was a real surprise. Sort of similar for Stage 3. They got knocked out against a pretty young Giants. All of those players pretty much moving up to G2. It's that second place from LCQ that hurts the most. Yeah. Against a Liquid that with Navera they hadn't lost. Guild scared them the most. There was so much going for them, but it just wasn't enough. I think the resources that Guild have put into this team to bring these players in shows that they want to sort of push it over the edge and be at Masters.
Man, I remember that last best of 5. I remember it was actually very sad because it's what we were saying. They always get so close, and especially in that last chance qualifier, it really looked like it was going to be for them. But you know, Liquid was looking amazing. They also proved it during Champions, so we cannot be that mad at them. Actually, this year is when they first won their first best of 5. So a good start, as we were saying, still on the right track. We want to see them against the big names.
It's kind of mind-blowing that Safe and Leo had never won a best of 5 before until this year, because it feels like they're the sort of players that would, you know, they're very, very, two of the best players we have in our entire region. Let's talk about one of them, Leo here. He was the one that they decided to kind of build the roster around alongside Safe, and the one that they didn't want to let go. And you can see why Kakuka, given a player with this consistency and also just how young he is as well.
That's the thing. If he's young, he's electric, and most importantly, he can play in a supportive role, any supportive role, and perform the way that Leo does. You have half of the team figured out already.
I want to try something. So you were saying about like remembering LCQ. Just close your eyes.
Yeah.
Think back to Guild.
Stop. Not Icebox, please.
Guild versus Supermassive Blaze. It's me and Zesh casting your two favorite people.
Oh, yes.
What do you remember about Leo?
I remember... Oh,
yeah.
I feel like I know this. Was this when he got like 12 kills through his utilities?
Shocked us.
Yeah.
And that was
I
like...
have it rated down here.
Yeah, like Leo was on like the Astra, I think, mostly for Guild before this, and Safe was on the Sentinel. That was the event that they changed it up a bit more to put these two guys, these young two guys, on more impactful, aggressive agents. And yeah, Leo is the one that I think brings it all together. Like Safe is the pivotal part, I suppose, like sort of Asuna levels of potential brilliance out there, I'd say. Like certainly could be like player of the year going forward, but like Leo is the instrumental part, the beating heart of Guild. I think he's the one that you are making a team around. And so the fact that they brought in like Coldamenta, Trex, Russ, they're not like G2 levels of get the big name and bring them here no matter what. It's like we trialed them. They are the best at what they do. Some of them you might not have even heard of, but these are the guys that we want to build our team around, and it is a super team.
Yeah, and Leo, especially being so young, putting up so much responsibility over his shoulders, and him, you know, playing up to it, and they knowing that they want to swap that role. So Safe wanted to be a duelist again because he feels capable enough to be against, you know, against CNET, against QT, against all of the Jets that we have in the region. Be like, I have to be on the same level. I want to compete against this guy face to face. So really excited to see what the year is going to bring in for Guild.
Especially after all of the players that did play Jet on Guild last year, like you never thought Safe was going to be the one that they were going to settle with going into 2022. But real quick on the players that they did bring in, Brian, you mentioned people at home might not even know some of them. So talk me through who they are. I guess starting with Coldamenta, because that's the one I feel like everybody would know.
Do you want me to leave you, Coldamenta? You want to like have your own
So here's the thing.
Here we go.
You know, Coldamenta started in Movistar Riders, if I'm not in the wrong. Then he moved on to RIE that ended up being Ascend. And then G2 were like, we really need a... and they were like, we really need an IGL, probably one of the questions that we always have for G2. And they were like, okay, let's bring in Coldamenta. And then, you know, when Coldamenta, the things didn't work with him on G2, well, Gil was like, we actually could use a guy like this. He seems pretty versatile. He has the experience. He's been playing, you know, from low to high tier. So let's bring it in.
Coldamenta have a lot to prove as well, considering the rest of his team went on to be world champions, right? So he's probably like, crap, I shouldn't have left. You know what I mean? But Zeke's come in and he's changed up that squad a lot. Bone Cold's had to sort of fill that IGL role. For Guild, I think it's like Russ. I knew he was good on 10-star with like the Sky mostly. Even when Sky was nerfed, Russ was still putting up good numbers, right? And Trex, we were talking about like Honk before, right? It's all paths crossing. Trex was that player, like he was on, I think Singularity or OBG, like for First Strike. Yeah, he went to OG later on, but like he was on that unsigned team. He was so pivotal. He's so vocal, very opinionated, and very like strong-minded, I suppose. Knows to work hard. So seeing him being picked up on this roster was no surprise. I guess the biggest surprise is that he ended up playing more like Sentinel roles and more passive stuff, considering he was a duelist only before he joined Guild.
Shout out to Russ though, UK buff. You know, we gotta bring some highlight, bring some spotlight even to our boys, and also having two Russ in the scene is quite confusing sometimes. But then we got two Aslan. I feel like we have.
You think that we're gonna get two Caldamentas?
We've got two Braves as well.
We got two Braves, yeah. But let's talk about the maps now for today. Again, I like to start with Fracture because we still haven't seen Fracture in an entire weekend.
You're not going to see it today.
Of action, yeah. Do you think we're going to see it today?
I don't think so. Like the chances of Guild banning it. So there's always the two options. Is Guild going to ban what they always ban, or are they going to ban the best map out of BBL? So either one of the two. If it's the one that they always ban, it has to be Fracture. I'm really sorry. So I actually want to see the map too, but it's just not going to happen today unless they leave it open. And if they leave it open, BBL has to, go into thinking, did they do this on purpose? Is it really that they want to ban our best map, or have they actually prepared something for Fracture, knowing that is one of the pivotal maps for this stage?
I think naturally you sort of put a lean against BBL because they qualified second in Turkey, so it's like they're not the best team in their region, otherwise they would have qualified first. But there's still a lot of maps in their pool that they've not been beaten on. 6-0 on Ascent, they're 2-0 on Fracture. They played a little bit of Breeze, so there is a pretty cushy map pool that could happen for BBL here. But Guild just seems so set in their ways, I suppose, of just always banning out Fracture. And you could see why, because you have teams like London United that are really good on it that never really get to play it, right? So I think it makes a lot of sense to be like, our permaban should be that map that a lot of teams are staying up to the late hours thinking up some weird-ass stuff to run, so it makes sense.
Yeah, and the only map that Guild lost to Rebels during this entire year was Icebox, and is the only one where BBL really has a bad result, and I don't think that they're really looking forward to picking it. But again, it's literally one map that they lost. The rest of the times that they've played on Icebox, they've been winning it. The problem is that we were talking about London, and that's a strike that they had on Haven. And for Guild, the problem is, at least for this year, almost every map is on a winning streak. So what are you going to do against that?
I mean, for BBL, obviously, the Bind and the Icebox, the two maps that you mentioned already, not the best for them this year, especially given that they have some great results on the other ones. So it does feel like it comes down to if Barbar is coming into this being like, we're going to play our own game, we're just going to do what we usually do, or Barbar's coming into this with an aggressive stance of, well, we know there's a couple of maps you don't like, and we're going to just take away your best one.
I mean, what they saw against Ascent yesterday, like with the Ascent game, it's still like a...
Turkish team's on Ascent.
Turkish team's on Ascent, right? It's just like, that's probably a good shout.
SMB was the same.
Yeah.
I mean, the previous SMB, not the new SMB. I mean,
Fubbalist, I think, was good. It just seems to be something about that map, right? It is the most like tack shooter friendly, I suppose, where you've just got the mid and the splits and the stuff. So if you've been playing CS or whatever for how many years, it seems to naturally come together quite nicely. So yeah, I think for Guild, I'd like to see them sort of keep that dominance going. I think that this is a game that they should be winning, probably 2-0, but you never really know with a map pool. And just with BBL, they could sort of come in like Na'Vi. We were pretty low on Na'Vi expectations, but they came in sort of proving a lot of people wrong.
Well, let's with that in mind, let's take a look at the picks and bans for today. I'm still hoping with every cell in my body that we might get Fracture, but I feel like I might get proven wrong today. We don't get Fracture, but if you look at the bottom left, Fracture was floated around the first round of bans. Bind was taken off by BBL, and Guild banned Ascent.
So they went actually to ban, probably because of what we saw yesterday from SMB, they wanted to ban BBL's strongest map. I like the peak onto Breeze. I think I'm actually surprised because I'm not a big fan of Fracture. I know that you are, Sue, but I'm kind of surprised that during this entire weekend we haven't seen it. No one has had the balls to actually pick it.
It's been floated a couple of times though.
Yeah, but that's also like the other part. Like the other team is going to be like, oh, they used to ban this. Are we actually ready for this? Because sometimes you do not prepare a map just based off on the idea that the other team is going to ban it.
Maybe they just floated it knowing that BBL were not going to pick it, so they could just ban it out second anyway.
Yeah.
So I think it's the fact that Guild maybe feel a bit more comfortable with this map, which is a good showing, because let's say, for example, considering they're still 4-1 on Icebox, they don't want to play Icebox, they can ban it out, and they're still like undefeated on all of the other maps, right? So, I mean, some streaks are going to be broken in this tournament, otherwise this Guild team is incredibly scary. But yeah, it's the fact that like BBL have something to lean on, but that Ascent, they could probably save for a team in the future, to be fair, and actually have some quite surprising stuff to throw at them. So, sorry, whoever's playing BBL next, it's Fnatic, isn't it? So,
it is, yeah.
Yeah, so like Buster's like, oh no, oh no.
And their Ascent was a little bit shaky as well. So, yeah, but that's happening next week. For now, let's talk about the 3 maps we saw. Do you feel like this has a particular lean towards either team? Because it feels like Guild is the natural one, right?
Exactly.
Given that they're the favorites here.
They're the natural favorite for this matchup. But still, I think there's room for BBL. What there is a lot of room for could be those changes, because both of these teams run like the most basic composition, especially from last year on this breach, is going to be probably, okay, we expect the Viper, the Sova, the Cypher, the Sky, and the Jet. Now, we have been seeing teams using the Chamber, maybe moving away from that Sky and bringing in the KO. We have seen how important the KO has been on previous series. So maybe one of those changes is what can give BBL the upper hand and actually take this map out of Guild.
I'm excited to see a bit more Breeze. We've seen a couple of changes like the no duelist that we saw from Liquid. I don't think we're going to see anything like that today, probably more straightforward stuff. But with so much more KO being used, is a map that Ascend, C9, we're using it in Champions, right? It's probably the most oldest of the KO comps that you can build around. Curious if we're going to see that from either side at this point, because it's still fractions of games that we've seen from Guild and BBL, that this is now a big one that they can definitely show their best.
We're going to take another break here, a little break for you guys to rest your voice. Tournament officials are still investigating some of the client connection issues, and I'll give you guys an update right after this break.
Pampok again.
When I go into the server, I'm not really afraid of anyone specific. It could be CNET, it could be Scream, it could be Stark, so it doesn't really matter. You know, every game's the same for me.
No idea where the remainder are. Safe taking a big risk of what?
Operator brought down. They have all the rifles here, J2, but they still cannot face. Whoa! Okay, right. That's illegal. No way that he's just done that.
Easiest matchup is probably gonna be Fnatic. They're not that good online. Like, you know, from the past that they've learned, they play better on LAN.
There's many things in life that come free, especially to us humans, and for us, one of them is G2.
I honestly think like my only goal is to be like dominating the scene.
An opportunity for Scream if he can find him. There we go, Scream looking to make it happen. Oh my God, Scream gets himself an ace.
Big, they beat us in the first qualifier, and we just want to show how much we're grown and that we can beat them now.
Yeah, FPX is of course one of the teams I will like to face the most. Also, Doomgo said that he likes to see me against Angel again.
Но мы топ-1. Тут нечего добавить. Принципиальный соперник у нас это СМБ, турецкая команда, потому что они нас на выход, когда мы могли выйти на Берлин, они нас выбили.
There before running away, Brave is the one on site to take him down. Brave is quick with the headshots. He finds.
Игра смазалась, и хочется как бы сыграть полноценную Best of 3 против них и показать, ну, как бы выявить, кто сильнейший, как бы нормальный пустой, так скажем.
En kolay bence hiçbir takım yok, en zor da yok. Hepsi bence eşit. O yüzden hepsi 50-50.
Herkes bizim kadar çalıştığını düşünüyorum. Herkes istiyor. Ama çok isteyen değil, çok çalışan kazanacak.
Могу сказать про нас то, что я поставил именно для себя цель. Я хочу в этом году постараться выиграть все турниры, и поэтому я буду работать как проклятый.
Mothering them down. Nats is buying time after time. Can they finally take him down? No, they can't. Nats the immovable object. Unbelievable work.
Ascent oyunun en iyisi oldu geçen sezonda. Champions'ı kazandı.
Şu anda çok çalıştılar, çok hazır gözüküyorlar. O yüzden onlarla dişe diş olacağımızı düşünüyorum.
Tabii ki herkes bize karşı kazanmaya çalışacaktır. Yani bunun için aslında nasıl diyeyim, çok ekstra bir şey yapmıyoruz. Hala nasıl antrenman yapıyorsak, hala nasıl oynuyorsak öyle oynuyoruz. Çünkü kendimize güveniyoruz ve hala en iyi olduğumuzu kanıtlayacağımızı düşünüyorum. O yüzden umarım bunu başarabiliriz.
I know we on the way. Gotta know we on the way. Yeah, it's time to make a play. Swear it's time to make a play. Let me tell the world the truth. Gotta tell the world something. Hard times never stay. Hard times never stay. Put in that work, ain't no giving up for real. You know the deal. It's written in stone. We stay going strong. They already know what it is. They want us to lack, but we come up with stamina. Put a new vision on camera. Bringing that pressure, no need to relax. It's about to get hot as it's ever been. I'm speaking the truth and bringing the proof. It's about to get crazy. Running them numbers up, legendary, amazing. Gotta be careful the fire we bring in this blazing. I'm just ready to see the look on their faces. Get a little extra, we killing it, you can't save them. Mark my words, this history in the making. Got another one showing up in this major. Don't wanna miss it, this something that you was waiting for. Call everybody you know and tell them the wait is over. It's time to open them doors and let the whole world know it. We on the way, ain't no looking back, cause we going forward. Finish line in the distance instead of going for it. Can't be impatient, just do it right, it's gonna last forever. Understand how reality speakers really clever. A lot of times we only focus on the bigger picture. But it's the details of the picture we gotta remember. I know we on the way. Gotta know we on the way. Yeah, it's time to make a play. Swear it's time to make a play. Let me tell the world the truth. Gotta tell the world something. Hard times never stay. Hard times never stay. Keep going till you get it. Man, you gotta keep going. Solid plan put in place. Gotta put a plan in place. Let me tell the world the truth. Let me tell the world the truth. I know we on the way. Gotta know we on the way. I know it's hard, but keep going strong. You already on. Tough times don't last long. Stay in the zone. From the ashes to overtaking new milestones. See, that's what happens when dedication is turned on. Never give up when facing pressure. It'll make you better. A lot of things gon' come together in stormy weather. Just keep your focus on something better. Better late than never. Never give up on that level. It's closer than never. Can't be impatient. Just do it right. It's gon' last forever. Understand how reality speakers really clever. A lot of times we only focus on the bigger picture. But it's the details of the picture we gotta remember. I know we on the way. Gotta know we on the way. Yeah, it's time to make a play. Swear it's time to make a play. Let me tell the world the truth. Gotta tell the world something. Hard times never stay. Hard times never stay. Keep going till you get it. Man, you gotta keep going. Solid plan put in place. Gotta put a plan in place. Let me tell the world the truth. Let me tell the world the truth. I know we on the way. Gotta know we on the way. I know we on the way. Gotta know we on the way. Yeah, it's time to make a play. Swear it's time to make a play. Let me tell the world the truth. Gotta tell the world something. Hard times never never stay. Hard times never stay. Put in that work, no giving up for real, you know the deal. It's written in stone, we stay going strong, they already know what it is. They want us to lack, but we come up with stamina, put a new vision, no camera. Bringing that pressure, no need to relax, it's about to get hot as it's ever been. I'm speaking the truth and bringing the proof, it's about to get crazy. Running them numbers up, legendary, amazing. Gotta be careful the fire we bring in this blazing. I'm just ready to see the look on their faces. Get a little extra, we killing it, you can't save them. Mark my words, this history in the making. Got another one showing up in this major. Don't wanna miss it, this something that you was waiting for. Call everybody you know and tell them the wait is over. It's time to open them doors and let the whole world know it. We on the way, ain't no looking back, cause we going forward. Finish line in the distance, instead of going for it. Can't be impatient, just do it right, it's gonna last forever. Understand how reality speakers really clever. A lot of times we only focus on the bigger picture, but it's the details of the picture we gotta remember. I know we on the way, gotta know we on the way. Yeah, it's time to make a play, swear it's time to make a play. Let me tell the world the truth, gotta tell the world something. Hard times never stay, hard times never stay. Keep going till you get it, man, you gotta keep going. Solid plan put in place, gotta put a plan in place. Let me tell the world the truth, let me tell the world the truth. I know we on the way, gotta know we on the way. I know it's hard, but keep going strong, you already on. Already, tough times don't last long, stay in the zone.
I'm legendary. I'm legendary. Notorious, victorious. I'm legendary.
The Valorant winter break is finally over, but during the off-season the EMEA region got caught in a snowstorm of roster changes. Fnatic got started with their rebuild straight after Champions. Doma, who had played for the organisation since the foundation of their Valorant roster, has now been moved aside. An interesting move, as Doma was Fnatic's former star player, who switched to a more supportive role in April to enable Derka to play to his full potential. We will see Doma starting in the qualifier with 10-star from now on. Guild didn't make it out of this ferocious storm unscathed either. From the original roster, only Leo and Safe remain, as Draken, Yasin and Bonkar are all no longer on the team. Guild followed the trend of changing their IGL and promptly picked up a new one in the form of Coldamenta to fill the void left by Bonkar. He will be joined by Russ from 10-star and Trex from OG. Both finally want to prove themselves by making it into the playoffs with their new team. Yasin and Bonkar are returning to their Valorant roots in the meantime, making a quasi-revival of their first team, Team Bonk. This time, however, they are changing the name to Yonk. Joining them are Machina from Vitality, Cretan from Alliance, and upcoming talent Neela. Whether this mix can live up to the high expectations that their link to Team Bonk brings with them or not will be exciting to see. A side note in the roster mania has to be made for Nip, who saw the oncoming snowstorm and decided to retreat to a warmer region. The whole roster was released as the org is moving over to Brazil, with the aim of picking up a team there. Contrary to Nip, who escaped south, FPX instead embraced the cold and went even deeper into its midst, joining the CIS region with their latest 2 pickups. They rounded out their existing roster of Angel, Shao and Zippen with the addition of former Force player Suigetsu, which brings the CIS membership of the team to a majority. They will be joined by Ardis. The Latvian took a timeout due to his health in June of last year, but is now making his return to professional play, rounding out the roster. Regional rivals Na'Vi continue the trend of changing out in-game leaders by parting ways with Arch. The switch comes due to the feeling that a change-up was needed to elevate the roster to new heights. The addition of JD is supposed to bring a breath of fresh air to the team. The 18-year-old finally gets to play in his native region after his time on NIP. It wasn't only Europe and the CIS that got hit. The warmer parts of the EMEA region also couldn't escape the roster change storm. Supermassive Blaze moved on from 3 of their players after their loss to rival Footballist. Turco and Russ found their new teams in Desire and Giants Gaming respectively. To keep up the seasonal trend, SMB also opted to replace their IGL powerer, who is now playing for BBL Esports. To compensate for the loss of the trio, Cyderex was picked up from Kafalar Esports and fills the IGL void. Joining him are 2 players of regional rival Oxygen Esports. Glovey and Zisto both made the switch after losing to the old iteration of the team in the LCQ. Futbolist also made a change, releasing their Sova player Sasuke after results against the EMEA competition didn't go the team's way. Futbolist also suffered the loss of one of the best Sentinel players of the region. Sterben will also no longer be representing the team for the coming season. Like SMB did, Futbolist also found their replacement on Kafala Esports in the form of Power. The rookie is joining up with the squad after only 2 months with his previous team. Mr. Farlin rounds out the roster after showing some good individual performances in recent times. Thankfully for everyone, the storm seems to have died down a little and no big changes have happened with the winners of the Champions Stage. We can get into the new season with some great weather and, more importantly, some incredible matches in EMEA to find out if anyone can beat Ascend this season.
Welcome back, everyone. I'd like to give you a massive apology on behalf of Tom Biz and Midgeman. It turns out they were hoarding the start game button and they didn't realize because they were too busy giving away Riot gun buddies. So yeah, you tell them how that feels on Twitter. Make sure.
On their DMs, especially Mitch. If you go and asking for a gun buddy, just on his DMs, you'll get one.
Yeah, that's what he spends his day off doing, just giving away Riot gun buddies.
So charitable, isn't he? Yeah.
We have found the start game button now, so we're going to start shortly with Agent the Select. But let's remind ourselves that the 3 maps we're going to be seeing today between BBL and Guild. Breeze is where we're going first, followed by that Haven, and then if we do get a map 3, we're going to end up on Split.
Yeah, BBL defending first as well on Breeze, just a chance to kind of feel out the map a little bit, maybe find some nice aggression. I think that's what SMB were able to do a little bit right, of just trying to catch up the timings and stuff. So yeah, Breeze, I think BBL, I want to see that operator. I want to see QT. I want to see how he does on this kind of like level of game in comparison to some of the others.
I want to see changes also coming in because you mentioned they decided to start on the defense, but I'm actually kind of scared about Guild and their attack, and also if they're going to be bringing in those changes. Moving on to Haven, we're probably going to see a KO. That is something that they have tried in the past, but you know, they brought back the Sky, so probably just leaning towards what they can improve going into this 5 weeks, as we said, and a lot of teams bringing in new stuff. As you mentioned, I don't think that we're going to see what Liquid did with the triple initiator and playing no duelist for both these squads. I think that would be kind of suicidal. But yeah, really excited to see how they're going to work around the map, especially with the changes that we mentioned, and you know, to see if Guild is going to start really strong, or if actually BBL are going to, you know, be the stars of this game.
Yeah, I mean, coming into this season as well, bringing in Pora for BBL was a really great change for them, but a lot of people were a bit perplexed because you already have AIM-DL on your team, a person that's been playing the Cypher and Killjoy for such a long time. How does bringing in Pora kind of changes that dynamic? Now, Pora has said publicly now, and you guys have seen throughout the qualifiers, that these two are kind of sharing the responsibilities. On some maps, Pora will pick up the Cypher, on other maps, AIM-DL will pick up one of the Sentinel players, and Ryan, on this one, this is where we're expected to see Pora on the Cypher.
I think that makes the most sense because Pora's a bit more aggressive overall, I'd say. Like, he's going to find lurks, he's going to find space. I think that Cypher is such a good pick on this map for those reasons of exploiting space, but also still holding on to this B site. Despite the changes, I think that Cypher play of just hiding into that corner, holding on to that utility works, but it does depend on whether Guild decide that they want to run a bit of KO, because that would just run right over any setups that Pora might have.
So I'm down for the adaptation. I want to see the KO jumping in, and I want to see, you know, Pora being like, okay, we've practiced against teams that already run the KO, we know how to play around it, or maybe, you know, BBL are going to surprise us and they're going to bring in the KO, and they're going to be even extra aggressive on the defense, just taking that upper hand. Yeah, especially, I mean, if AIM-DL plays the KO, he would be the person, I guess, I would pick it up on the side of BBL, but they cannot sacrifice that Viper, I guess, coming into this. Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's if it goes, it has to be on the way of the Sky. Maybe we see something, maybe we see a double change, and we actually maybe see Power running on the chamber. I mean,
I would like that. I would like that.
Okay. We know Power, but I think that just because he likes to go on the lurks, he might stick to the Cypher. Maybe bringing in the Killjoy pack.
Can you imagine how terrifying Pora on Neon would be on like lurks, just sprinting around the map? Like, because it was almost a meme to begin with when we first saw Pora. I think, oh, what team was he on? He was on like a stack with Turco and stuff way back when. It was like a Prodigy.
Yeah.
He was just so cerebral. People were like, this guy sees 20 years into the future with some of these players. Like, what's going on? So the fact that Pora was known for that, now he's got the IGL sort of role stacked on his shoulders a bit. It weighs him down in some cases. I want to see that lurking Pora that we know and love.
Oh, okay. I just want to let you guys know here on the agent select before we talk about the agents that VCT EMEA is Leo. He had some troubles with connecting his account, so don't be confused by who that is. That is Leo playing the Sova.
Guild made a new signing. We'd like to congratulate Freaks for You, the whole organization. It's like
production.
They've like sponsored a person. You know how some like companies like turn a person's name into their company name? I'm not going to name the examples, but like that's it. Like
Freaks for You, Leo.
Yeah. He's got his own personal sponsorship.
I mean, he's going to be pretty OP with the entire VCT EMEA on the server playing.
Exactly, an entire production room down to himself. He literally has thousands of cameras, thousands of computers as well to play off. But as we were saying, we're not seeing any kind of surprises here. Maybe we wanted to see them, but the adaptation has to come from what they expected from each other. So this has to be, in theory, with no surprises, the best preparation out of both of the teams because they knew that they were going to be facing each other. So if Guild decided to go with this Breeze, they expected this composition.
Also, we got to talk about the fact this is not going to be easy for BBL. This is a tough start.
You sort of expect them to almost go down 0-2 straight away in this one, not because BBL can't play with the big boys. It's just a Guild have been on such a tear recently. It's not looking to let up. I'm hoping that we see some of the things that we saw from that SB game, similar for BBL, but I don't know if we will.
We will see indeed. Now, Pansy and Hypark are ready to bring you guys a breeze between Guild and BBL.
We're in now, no more issues, and credit to the desk there for just filling time. Now, luckily, though, we all know that Yinsu is a true Turkey stan out there. She loves every Turkish team she can find, and she got BBL today. I'm sure if the predictions included the little graphic or something, the name would be right with it. But what about you? Where do you see this? Because I think a reasonable take would be that Guild are the safer team to look at, right? But BBL, there's that X factor.
Yeah, I'm glad actually the desk could kind of cover this in the same light I was feeling about London United, right? With Guild, yes, they've had a fantastic run, but we're yet to see that replicated, I guess, in a different caliber of teams, right? Sure. And on the flip side of that, it's tough because this is going to be, again, kind of the same transition we've seen with a couple of other fully Turkish rosters, kind of now getting their reps across the rest of the region, right? So it's an interesting first matchup for both of these teams. Just to come the composition, it actually highlights obviously the Poro and MDL. Obviously the Viper is kind of a plug and play if it's a sensible player. So it's almost essentially the same sort of role. You've almost got two, I guess, characters that can fulfill that same kind of gap. This does ride a lot on BBL's defense for me. We're seeing Guild's performance on the attack and obviously allowing Safe to do what he's already very vocally said he's comfortable to do. It's a good starting point for them. Actually, initially, nobody on A side to three-man walk out through double doors right now, and Guild actually have found themselves a small opportunity to find some space, but Kushner actually find Trex there. I don't know if that was fully through the wall.
Yeah, very well could have been at this point, but Russ has found one back, so the plant will at least be kept under Guild's control for now, but you can see the wrap coming in, and I don't know how much contact they've had on this, but look at Coldamenter's position. If he gets the right timing on this, they'll have no idea, and a couple of shots in the back and now draws the attention of two. A lot of this retake has now been noted, so BBL gonna have to be fighting uphill, but they're used to that. They're good at that. And Pora gonna be leading the boys back towards the side. The timing's awful for Coldamenter. Dips away just at the wrong time. Still able to put some of that utility into play, but it's not perfect. But for BBL, they've got to find these players, and they're doing exactly what was needed. Drawn off from the defuse, but they should be able to have the time, and BBL looking sharp today.
I was wondering what the initial post-plant plan was there for Guild, because the plant, and then I guess on the back of that early mid aggression, they almost have to give up cave, right? They have to concede on that point, but there was no plan to address any other point on site, or push a little deeper, find a kill. I mean, perfect kind of spread from BBL to make sure that there was multiple threats coming in from different angles. But maybe that one kill on the way in from Kushner was what kind of made that difficult for Guild.
I want to see this build now. I think BBL could be one of those teams who benefits greatly from momentum, early confidence, drawing first blood almost. I think that's going to work quite well for them. And for Guild, I don't think they're going to be too shaken yet. I think they should be fine to carry on forward. Again, I think their strength has been showing as of late. They are certainly at a high point, but we haven't been able to check in a long time, and I'm super excited to see how they handle some of these individuals. Again, for BBL, we know they are such powerful players, but can they still show that they've got that full picture now worked out? Aslan just about kept safe there. That was really on a knife's edge. A pixel either way, and it would have been just a different outcome.
Game DLL going to catch a...
I have the spike. Toxin screen down.
Well, the space there, whether or not he's going to force his way through, because Guild are actually making their way back towards A site now. No real clues to go off here. The dart, actually, it does spot Trex. Yeah, the awareness there from Aslan. Find that, try and isolate this kill, but actually Trex comes out on top. Going to find that kill. It could be an opportunity to isolate AMDL, who did take a Marshall tag earlier, so he's got to play this safe.
Yeah, Guild getting a little scrappy this round, so BBL going to have to work a little bit more for this.
30 seconds left.
And time going to become a little bit of an element, but they are working towards a site, so they should be able to have safe passage to get that spike safely down. You're seeing that now. There it is.
I'd say Trex's spy cam is everything here. It's the only flank protection they have. Not sure if he's checked it just yet, but seemingly aware Safe will find the kill.
Okay, BBL, what's going on here? I'm getting a little worried about this. A trade, I'm still not thinking that's good enough. Yeah. There's so many bodies in the way. Guild can simply just kind of dig their heels in here, make them push a little too deep almost, but Pora sharp as ever. Gonna remove Leo, and a quick couple of kills means this game back on. Diffuse gonna begin, and look at it, at least gonna get to halfway here. You see them toying with the idea of just sitting on this one, but you can't do it, surely not. And well, I don't know how on earth BBL have scrapped their way through that final 2v2. It felt like it was teed up for them.
It really did. Damage done, yes, ticking the box, but sure, really, if Guild are coming away with that situation, a little disappointed, I gotta say. Like, ultimately, they had great control. I mean, this kill is huge to kind of remove, to remove Leo here, but I'm just trying to keep my eyes on the minimap here. If the safe falls then there's a kill towards the door. It just really disjointed, it feels like.
But I did like that Kushner was ready to kind of instantly expect someone to try and trade Pora's push.
Yeah,
I kind of like that little synergy between them. That's a nice look to kind of read your opponent quite well. Russ better be careful. He's more than on an island, and there's a lot of players just on the other side here, so he's going to really have to kind of play his life, be very meticulous and cautious with this. As BBL, that aggression already showing. No fear in taking a little bit of a peek around the map, and a curious purchase coming in here from BBL, or lack of a big investment, which I quite fascinated by.
And they absolutely commit to making this a bonus round, right?
Yes.
I guess why we saw a little early aggression. Guild seemingly a great read on the situation. Now will find themselves an uncontested plant on A site. To see if BBL just commit to some damage. Russ will get overwhelmed, and the weapon retrieved. Hoping that doesn't.
Pretty big.
Yeah, hoping that doesn't equate to a couple more.
I mean, Aslan's got armor. And AimDLL's played this so perfectly, playing quietly in the shadows, does get the punish what's called a mentor, but quickly traded out. So you're going to see Guild at least trying to find ways back in. It's down to 2. That rifle is still in Aslan's hands. I want to see if he can find anything for this. And yes, he can. Find safe and now looks for more, but the time's starting to dwindle. Keep that in the back of your mind. They don't have all the time in the world. And a bit of chip damage, and they need one of these players to peek and go down quick. And I don't think Guild are going to fall for this. The damage has certainly been achieved in the wild spray. They can get it to halfway. He's trying to sit there. No way! That was so close.
Well, I mean, ticking the box for Guild on the previous round, that there is a little bit of a disaster with how that concluded. Totally safe plant, and BBL make them sweat hard enough that an extra body will fall to the spike. See what the knock-on effect is. Safe as a blade storm, so that's actually a lifeline in this round here to kind of buffer that purchase a little bit. Yeah, one away from the Vipers bit, one off the Seekers, but nothing else really to throw at this round in terms of a safe bet. On the back of that previous purchase, actually, BBL coming to this with 4 rifles now. Again, if they did reinvest, this would look a lot worse for them.
I've got your trail.
Seeker's going to go down. The attacking side going to try and at least but Kushina under pressure towards the back of site. He's going to have to respect that, at least for now, fall away a little bit further. And while that happens, MDLL did catch safe. So now the spike's going to go down, so the site will be at least under the banner of Guild for now, but you can instantly see BBL looking for that next step forward. Clearing through middle is one of those protocols that they have to achieve. No one there to really greet it, but you can see the post plant from Guild.
Coldamenta removed pretty early. Leo in position to trade that one out, so even right now, a 3v3. The time ticking away. BBL needs to find some way back on here, and the crossfire on main actually works out perfectly. The result in 2. Kushina responds with 1. Again, any less, and it becomes a little more concerning in terms of the finances.
Yeah, absolutely ate that flash. Guild gonna stay alive with 2. And couple that with the scoreline up above. All even now, 2-2. Keep your eyes on the money, though. This is where it can get a little bit problematic for BBL if it continues as such. But these rounds have been very close. Either side have been posting numbers. They've been both looking pretty sharp. It's been not super refined from Guild either. You know, BBL will thrive in multitudes of ways, I think, is the best way to put it.
They'll thrive in
if it
chaos.
gets scrappy, exactly, right? Like, to me, that is where BBL can really come alive. They can lean a little bit more on the individuals, but they still have a bit of structure there. Whereas I feel for Guild, I want to see a little bit more structure from them. But look at the early punish. BBL, unrelenting aggression from the word go.
Yes, that snakebite did just catch at least the vulnerability. No real damage done, but that headshot is fantastic. Safe will fall.
A quick trade. They're desperate to keep that in check, because if any of these players were able to capitalize off the back of that, that could have been a whole different scenario. Up and over we go, but it's not looking good. Again, though, it's still a 3v3. And speaking of scrappy, another round like this. Leo's just about got a grip on this, but there's still danger aplenty.
I mean, just about, yes, but there's still a real chance NDLL and Pora can fight their way back onto site here. Key position here from Trex. He's, yeah, I was gonna say, he's found that crossfire from Archers. Very difficult here. Poor last man standing, Sheriff in hand. Constellation, no. Leo finds his 4th. I think actually, I'm not sure if I heard that audio. Was it Coldamenta popping the Viper's Pit and then immediately, yeah, losing out, yeah. You see, he just managed to try and get that invested. But again, it's throwing that ultimate into a round where you got to say BBL have a massive disadvantage. To safe rise through the Blade Storm, and I mean,
we got a glass cannon coming out.
All things considered, I was going to say on the side of Guild, financially they're about where you'd expect them to be, but you're right. The operator in the hands of Kushina now. And he hasn't been cautious at all in mid, and you look at the minimap again, he's drifted straight through.
And if he does this enough round, they're gonna be so paranoid that he's there that he doesn't even have to be there for them to have to be cautious about it, right? Just that presence alone so often is gonna be a problem to deal with. But Guild are kind of navigating around this, and Pora's timing could be really bad here. Caught in no man's land, he's gonna have to peel away, respect the presence. Eats the flash too. But he does get to keep his life.
He's like wide open. We'll see how BBL counter moves Guild are making. Or it doesn't look like he's going to be rewarded with a kill on the other side of this. He's still out on an island as well. You can see the setup here from BBL. Coldamenta's in a weird spot as well. This is just a mess if you look at the minimap.
It is.
I know exactly where.
Now, the ult's going to kind of reveal everything. Now, the Seekers do go down at the same time, so kind of both revealing some sort of fact here, but Coldamenta finally shows his hand. He was lurking away for some time, and they're trying to find maybe Trex. They've gone around him at this point, so they're going to be working their way back in towards B. This is a very unorthodox round. Guild's going to be sat deep towards CT as well. Russ ready with the flash. Quick flash pop. Perfect peek off the back. Russ looking sharp today. Looking in control, and the follow-up as well for the man. Trying to connect on the last, but Coldamenta who makes it there in time, and by hook or by crook, a weird round for Guild, but they'll take it with 3 alive and an op maintained or recovered, should I say.
Really, really strange. I mean, the neural theft actually coming through a key timing for Coldamenta to backstab. I think it's Aslan making his way towards Nest, maybe setting up ahead of that retake. But yeah, it takes 3 people to force Trex all the way past Cannon.
Oh, this is what you like to see.
Yeah.
A technical timeout. Good. I'm sure nothing will go wrong.
No. It never does when we're on, right? Clean run of things.
Clean run. So let's kind of talk to the overall look of this game so far. And to me, at face value, it feels super scrappy between these two sides. And again, it's not just that BBL are being disruptive; they're playing quite aggressive.
Yeah.
But Guild are like, okay, well, we'll play the same sort of way.
But I think if we look at kind of the positives of Guild's run, so they're kind of reaping the rewards of that Cold Dementor buff, right? Which kind of leans on that whole stability, you know, strength of default. So the fact that BBL are able to make these rounds a little chaotic and kind of flip the script, right? I mean, you use the word unorthodox, that kind of nails it, but it's going to be tough for Guild to kind of have a solid grasp on the rest of this half, and it actually makes it a little concerning if this is the sort of recipe for BBL's attack, right? Because I mean, if they can string together 4, maybe 5 rounds on the defense, it's so much harder to manage this pace and this style of game when you're defending, particularly on Breeze as well. That just also throws a curveball in the entire equation.
And I think you're seeing the adaptation a little from Guild here. Look how deep they're sitting to expect these pushes, these catches. And Russ has a undesirable task in some ways. There's so many angles that someone could have crept up from, and you are a little on your own in that regard. But again, this is Guild having to respect that BBL have shown no fear in their approach. They'll play a pretty interesting way. They'll back themselves more often than not.
I mean,
now Russ hasn't been able to check on this player Pora, who is just sat below window. There's got to be some part of their mind that says there is a chance of this. And there's the contact. Great work from Leo to keep that in mind. You know, they weren't able to hard clear that or check on that, but now they've been able to invest that towards it. Seeker's going to really reveal the amount of presence that is towards Connector, and BBL going to be locked out of Chant. Here.
Really how they managed this time in the post line. BBL set up, I guess, a way more traditional approach back towards B site, but first kill comes through. Actually, a trade comes through onto Safe. Any further damage, again, it does get concerning. Leo did fall in the mix. And 3 survive, and we're happy with that one. It's interesting to see here, but whether or not BBL are going to read into some of these less considered indications, right? The fact that Cold Dementor doesn't immediately invest his wall on one side or the other kind of gives you a sense that BBL should be saying, right, okay, they're kind of holding a deep default.
They're holding defaults, yeah.
They're sitting, anticipating these sorts of pushes. And again, yes, we noted the utility from Russ in particular, but again, the willingness to throw out the Seekers in a round like that, because BBL are kind of playing their buy rounds the same as they are some of these Chico rounds, or the rounds with a Marshall here and there. That's what I'm talking about. It's actually a really tall order for Guild to kind of keep their finger on the pulse here in terms of what BBL are trying to achieve in something, because there's so much variation. You look at the minimap every round, it's different every time.
Yeah, and it may be off feeling off just a bit of space, something identified, and it may be off that. Cold Dementor being the one identified is going to be interesting, because it's not Russ this time. And Hunter's Fury on both sides going to come out. This is just looking like Tron right now, but AimDLL still going to expect the play coming out from the tunnel. Stave's going to catch Aslan, but still, AimDLL is just pushed up so close. I don't think he ate the full side of that flash, but still, 2 angles to clear, and he couldn't do both at the same time. Kushina, though, the readjust is quite nice here. This could be pretty valuable, but safe. What a shot. Walking into that, leaving it all down to Pora. Ult popped as well, giving Safe a couple more options. And now 2 players on the side. It has to be clean, it can't be. As Russ is there, and Guild starting to pull ahead scoreline-wise, but these rounds are close.
Yeah, stretching their legs a little bit. It's still the fact that it comes down onto a full site execution, right? It's just trading back and forth. And that's where it's a real test to Guild setup, and I guess kind of the protocols in place. Just to come back to that, I mean, it's all well and good if you've got Safe hitting what I'm pretty sure was two operator shots through his own smoke there. I'm not entirely sure how he found the second one. AimDLL's holding close contact on Bricks, and he finds a kill through his own smoke here. Actually, yeah, just missed it here on the kill feed, but finds that one through to double doors. It's just insane. Safe looking so sharp. And that's a key component for when BBL do kind of flip the script and make these messy rounds, that you can have a Jet that just pops off. That can kind of go toe-to-toe with that.
And it's 6-2, and I gotta see a little bit of a spark from BBL here, because you're right, they are quite slippery to get a hold of, right? You've seen the way they're playing. It's very versatile. It's hard to completely pin down, but I need just that final punch to it. And I'm liking what Kushina's bringing, a new player to my eyes, and actually looking pretty on the money. I like the aggression. I need to see now, they've caused Guild to respect it, right? We saw that, those super deep defaults. We've seen the wall being held back a touch by Coldamenta. They've got Guild responding how they wanted. Now I want to see that next layer to it. What do we do once we get them to act in a certain way? Now, this isn't the round to really see that causation in effect, but the next one coming up could be what we need to be seeing. For now, I hope for a bit of aggression, play a little out of character, do something extraordinary, as a 5-man walk down mid will certainly do a bit of that, but you can see it already. Guild are holding these deep defaults for a very valid reason. And again, Guild gonna play catch here, and BBL gonna be called upon to deliver some shots that aren't gonna be easy by any means. And at this point, the damage has been achieved, but at what cost? They've lost 3 players, and they're gonna back away.
It's so deep that they can't even make the most of a kill onto Coldamenta and retrieve a weapon. DLL still send out a few warning shots. Did he get tagged? Yeah, did get tagged and revealed on that recon bolt. 20 HP as well. Gotta try and find one of these picks on the way into sight, otherwise... Yeah, there you go. Stave already posted up. A little bit of a bait with the cloud burst as well. Takes the angle just behind it. And DLL, the 1v4, Sheriff, light shields. I'd love to see it.
Make me a believer. Let's go MDLL. Tag on the first. Needs a bit more. Not gonna happen. Rust is there. And Guild, starting to build up a bit of momentum. But this is the round that we want to see when they can finally invest back in. Oh.
Well, and
that's a response. A double op coming out.
And almost
could be huge.
Almost leans towards, we're going to slow this right down. Allow Guild all this space, let them sit in this deep roll. Don't contest it. Post somebody up and nest somebody in double doors. Take some of these really, really long lines of sight. Actually looks like
perfect evolution.
Double doors and tube. Yeah, they're going to slow this right down. You can see Pora a much deeper hold towards B's site. Almost happy to give entry away. Mm-hmm. And Pora is usually good for 1 or 2 on the way in with these sorts of setups.
100%. We're going to watch them at least make early contact. He knows there's a lot of presence here already, but the problem is the Seekers are going to come in and isolate him further. He's going to be in trouble. There goes another ult as well. Big investments coming out from the attacking side, and Pora's just trying to play his life, keep a little bit of safety on the site somewhere. As right now it's manic, and those double ops are going to be put into a really tricky spot to find a way to find value. And already Aslan, let's see if he's lying in nature as he has in name. Already going to try and lead in towards that ult, and no one's looking this way for now, and he does get caught out by Leo, so not the best of starts.
Actually, kills come back.
There we go. That's...
well, just like that. Guild are trying to play absolute rap style inside with multiple shorties, and BBL just overwhelm them. And this is the problem. If you invest too many bodies inside that Viper's pit, you really have full site control. It only really spreads over default, and you could argue 1 pillar. Somehow BBL actually find a way back into that.
Yeah, I didn't love the everyone sit in the ult from Guild sort of look.
I mean, it kind of makes sense. If there's any reason to believe that Guild knew there were 2 operators in play, then by all means, put an extra body inside Viper's pit, break that line of sight. But somehow, like I said, that pack mentality works for BBL on the way back in. I'm not sure how Coldamenta falls in that scenario. I don't know if it was a spam through or what. It happened off camera, but...
Well, those double ops are still out, but the problem is they've lost 1 now. Cushion has gone down, and Moj has now shown that his presence is also going to be towards Tube, so he has to hit a bit of a move on the back of this, otherwise that's going to happen, and Trex finds a punish towards him, and they've lost 2 of the most impactful players, at least considered in this round. You wanted to keep those ops in play, but now with them gone, and already a minute over still to play with for Guild, they can hit the brakes a little bit, see if they want to, find or punish a rotation or a bit of aggression, which is actually what BBL are up to.